Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 884. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Lauren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
Kat in Edmonton.
And Erika in Edmonton.
Yeah, this is so, folks. We had teased and perhaps taunted the gods last week, saying that we'd be recording this episode a couple days later because we'd be doing it in person with Warren flying over, having twice been thwarted by COVID from flying down for the holidays. Alas, the weather gods decided, wait a second, you forgot about us, didn't you? And canceled your flight, Warren, so you're stuck in Vancouver.
Mine and many, many, many other people's. And the amount of screwing around to get to Edmonton was just not worth the hassle, frankly.
Yeah.
So, and then today it's a beautiful 10 degrees and there's no snow on the ground. So typical.
Yep.
Thanks, weather gods.
Yep. So we're not doing this in person, alas, but we're still doing the holiday special Deathmatch. We'll be debating and bantering about which is the greatest Doctor Who holiday special. At the end of this episode, after all the news and stuff like that, because we thought it might be a slower news week. But then Russell T Davies decided, no, this might be a Doctor Who without a Christmas special, but this isn't a Christmas without Doctor Who. So we were blessed. We were granted a teaser for the upcoming 3 specials starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate, was dropped on Christmas Day. We've all watched it. Have we all zaprudered it? Have we all sort of gone through very slowly and looked at various bits of it? Because I speak that I have.
I was Zapruder Jr.
Somewhat.
I watched it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Does it count watching like over your shoulder when you were zaprudering it with me not paying that much attention?
Yes.
Sure. Then yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Then we did. Yeah.
6 degrees of zaprudering.
Yeah, a little bit. What's everyone's thoughts on the trailer? The trailer for the anniversary specials. Anyone?
I'll get my one negative. Like, I like most of it, but the one thing that bugs me, because I'm dumb, frankly, is that we keep hearing about how this is a completely new Doctor, but he's saying he's dropping his catchphrases. I'm like, is he though? Come on.
But we got the
Not that
LNZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LNZ kind of stuck in my craw.
Who said that he was a completely new Doctor?
I'm pretty sure Russell T Davies did.
Well, he's calling him the 14th Doctor, but
that doesn't necessarily mean completely new.
Yeah.
Yeah, RTD lies.
And then they are gonna lean on the tropes, because that's what he's there
Warren,
for.
you've read between the lines and read the wrong things.
And got mad at it.
I've become what I beheld, and I'm content I've done right, to quote the Untouchables.
You brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
Yeah, to also quote the Untouchables, yes.
Yeah, but no, but
other than that, it's good.
There's lots of exciting stuff. It's a trailer after all. Boy, it looks good. There's some shots there, just the way it's shot, the way it's lit. It just looks way different than David Tennant's original run. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say, it doesn't look that much different than Jodie's run, like, honestly, because they did some really good cinematography there, too.
You mean David Tennant's original run that was almost completely shot in SD?
Yeah, I know.
That's the one.
It's amazing. But you forget about it because you think, oh my God, David Tennant looks like, he's like 15 years older, but he looks really, really cinematic now. Did he change, or did the cameras and directors change?
Yes, the answer to both of those.
Let me put it this way. I'm working on a fan vid, and I have used the de-interlace effect in Premiere quite a bit. So, with regards to his and other footage. So, yeah.
Yes. Can confirm, Warren, having done 24 days of screen grabs for the Fluid Links Advent calendar, it's thinking, oh, wow, this SD stuff doesn't seem as good anymore. But, so, yeah.
It seems to tear up a bit.
Bit. It looks very exciting. So this has been confirmed now because Russell T Davies posted a pic of a Beep the Meep Christmas tree ornament.
It's frightening.
Shortly afterwards. So we can confirm now. Beep the Meep everyone, is in one of the holiday specials, along with the little Warth Warriors. Is that what they're called?
Yep.
Both appeared in Doctor Who and the Star Beast, the comic that was in Doctor Who monthly back then, or weekly. It might have been weekly back then.
Yep. I have the book in front of me.
Excellent.
That very thing in it.
Which in February through March, I think, of 1980, I think. So the very early days of the magazine, they were in there. So yes, for the first time properly, Doctor Who is mining its own comics history to come up with content for an on-screen.
Is it the first time?
I'm not sure.
I mean, other than the cameo of Absalom Doc as a drawing from the comics.
Exactly, like proper, like
Robots of Sherwood. I think that's the only other time I could think of.
Yeah, actual proper. I know that the Dalek saucer design comes from the TV Action 21 comics from the 60s, I think. But, an actual proper characters and plot potentially for modern Doctor Who. Starting to mind
those.
There's some great ones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never read them. Warren, had you read the comics?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have. I did back in the 80s when they came out. What happened was they came out here as Marvel reprints of DWM stuff. I didn't know at the time. I'm like, Marvel's got Doctor Who. Oh, the world is wonderful, which means he's technically a Marvel hero, which he will be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of, like, I've got the Dave Gibbons collection. There are other ones not drawn by Dave Gibbons, and obviously there are ones before this too. But the Dave Gibbons one, Star Beast, is in there. There's one with Merlin, who's a Time Lord, which is an excellent comic book story. Period. With the Fifth Doctor. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. That's a great run. Alan Moore wrote, but not for these ones.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, also Neil Patrick Harris, of course, is seen throughout the very. Now, of course, this is the
German.
No, here's the thing.
Okay,
I am perfectly happy to have the name redacted turned from one ethnic stereotype to a completely acceptable ethnic stereotype, that of a German person.
I get the feeling that based on the 3 different clips of Neil Patrick Harris we see in this thing, that he's kind of like Toby Jones as the Dream Lord. He'll appear as whatever throughout the sort of thing. Maybe he is the Dream Lord. He's the toy maker.
How sure are we about that? Is it still guessing? That hasn't been
no, it
officially,
hasn't been officially announced, but everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, well, I know everybody's talking about it, but also, as Kat said earlier, RTD lies. So it's possible that this is like they're pointing us in one direction. I saw somebody on Mastodon yesterday say maybe it's the Master of Fiction.
Could be
from the Mind Robber,
or somebody new. It could be somebody new.
No, Warren, come on, somebody new. What are you talking about here?
It probably won't be, but it could be.
I already have enough characters.
Yeah, exactly. Please eliminate.
We're full
3.
up.
Yeah,
go home.
Yeah, and also Unit is there too. Anyway, yeah, so curious.
I was going to say that the humor present in the Doctor and Donna era is very much present there as well. The scene where Donna's where the Doctor's hiding behind Sylvia.
Yeah,
I have a problem with that, which I hope will be fixed. Just simply because I just rewatched Journey's End for Verity, and at the end of it, the Doctor comes into the kitchen to say goodbye to Donna as she's on the phone with Neris or somebody, and she's just like, "Yeah, okay, bye." Like, she's seen him, she has talked to him. And that didn't trigger anything in her head. I'm just like, maybe the mind wipe is fading a little bit. So even seeing him at this point will be a problem. And maybe that will or will not be explained. But like, since I had just rewatched that, I was like, wait a minute, why can't she look at him?
She's had 15 years for memories to return, perhaps.
I thought that was just played for humor's sake. Like, Sylvia doesn't know. And she's like, don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was funny. However, I do think that just watching it, like, most of the Donna stuff in this very, very, very short trailer was Catherine Tate's amazing. She's so good at every different aspect of Donna, but this was a lot of confused, worried, angsty Donna, which, like I said, she does it very well. I am really looking forward to either more trailers or just in 11 months seeing the entire thing and getting to see relaxed, funny, haha Donna. Like, right. I like that side of her personality quite a lot as well. And I am not complaining about the trailer not highlighting that side of things. I think it made sense for this teaser trailer to have the, going for the emotions, going for the big, oh my God, what's going to happen sort of feel. But I can't imagine that the entire episode would just be all that and we would not get any relaxed Donna scenes. So I'm looking forward to some more relaxed Donna.
We've also got 3 episodes to have this all happen across.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not be the least bit surprised that we see another trailer before this that gives all that relaxed stuff you're talking about with no explanation whatsoever. Then we'll sit there feverishly tying our brain in knots trying to figure out how they go from A to B.
Well, I mean, if you look at the trailer, when you go through it frame by frame, as I have done, clearly there are bits of it which feature the Doctor and Donna on an adventure together. So I think we can surmise that there is probably one. Here's me speculating. I think the first episode, based on the locations, will feature Beep the Meep and the Worth Warriors.
Okay.
And that's when the Doctor meets Donna again, because there's a battle with the guys in the street, basically where Donna lives. So there's that. And then there's another episode with the Neil Patrick Harris character as another episode, because they're in a sort of different kind of part of the place. Or maybe that all ties into 3. Maybe it's actually a 3-part kind of thing, which sort of works in together. But I feel like there's definite, like, Doctor meets Donna, Doctor solves problem with Donna, and then Doctor and Donna go and have a couple of adventures together, by the looks of it. There's even a scene where they're hugging. There's a scene where they're running towards a house together. There's a scene, where the Doctor's sort of sliding under a door, and there's Donna in the background there. So clearly at some point they meet and she's fine. She realizes that, I guess I can remember Doctor Who.
Or maybe she doesn't remember him and is just having adventures with a guy she just met.
Again. Yeah.
Or she starts...
You seem unreliable. Let's go do this thing.
Yeah. She just starts building new memories. She doesn't remember the old ones, so she doesn't get hurt, but she starts building new memories and starts to cycle all over again.
Could do. After all, that's how it all started.
What?
Same cause and reason. With Zaprudering it, you almost have to in order to see other guest actress Ruth Madeley as well.
Yeah, she's in there.
She's in there for like 7 frames at the 48 or so second mark.
Yeah, she was also included in the press release as well. The person who played Donna's husband at the very tail end of The End of Time, a scene which I don't remember because, of course, I don't watch The End of Time that often, is back in it as well. Obviously Jacqueline King is there as Donna's mom. She's there still. So there are announcements and stuff. You could see Unit in the trailer. There's Unit, which is pretty cool. So Unit's back in some form or fashion. Rachel Talalay directed some of those clips, which is pretty cool as well. Perhaps
Vancouver's own, hooray.
Vancouver's own, Rachel Talalay.
Vancouver's own American, Rachel Talalay.
Yep.
And Brit.
Yeah, and
Brit. That's how she's able to direct it. And Canadian.
Yeah, she's a lady of the universe. Anyway, it's exciting. It's exciting to have a Doctor Who trailer for something that isn't airing in 11 months, and it's a sign of.
You mean 11 days?
11, yeah, yeah. I know. Usually, like, you wait for a trailer for something that you were probably going to watch. There were no titles of episodes dropped. I don't care. That's fine. We get a nice teaser and a taster of what's to come. I'm mildly surprised. I don't think Disney Plus retweeted it. They have sort of been doing the retweets and stuff of Doctor Who content.
They didn't?
I don't think they did. They might. Sometimes it takes them a while longer to do that. Yeah, please feel free to double check, because as of last night, I had checked.
They might be all home for the holidays. Who knows?
Maybe
their social media teams.
Yeah, Disney usually takes things off during the holidays. It's a pretty slow time for them and whatnot.
I'm just saying that's a good reason to say nothing's happening as the holidays are happening.
Could be. Probably not, though. But
yeah, I guess you're right. For some reason, I thought I had seen it retweeted from Disney Plus, but I guess not.
Yeah, so clearly Disney Plus is already losing Doctor Who, thanks to Bob Chapek coming back.
The show is ruined.
No, it was Bob Iger that came back.
That's right, Bob Iger. I got the Bobs mixed up. Bob Iger came back.
Bobs.
Yeah, there are too many Bobs. So, yes, Ruth Madeley, of course, was in Years and Years, right, Chris? That's what she was in.
She was in Years and Years, yes.
Previously, yeah, and someone who Russell T Davies was heavily implying would be in Doctor Who during that Zoom seminar I watched quite a few weeks ago now. So I knew that she was going to be in it. So, and there's Jasmine Finney, was of course was seen as Rose. That's what the character's named. She wasn't called that in the trailer or anything like that. So yeah,
is that the first time we've seen her?
Yes, officially in a trailer. Yes, yeah, we didn't see it.
Yeah, she was announced and all that kind of stuff, like way back in the spring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there. I suspect we'll get at least one more. One more trailer. So. Probably I'm thinking Comic-Con will be one for sure.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Bet you that'll be the big reveal for Disney, but who knows? It might happen earlier. We'll find out, but it's exciting. Nice little gift that we all had. It was fun seeing like the speculation that some people were thinking, what if they actually dropped an episode? What if they actually dropped a whole episode?
Unlikely.
Very unlikely.
I wouldn't put it past RTD, but unlikely.
Yeah. Would have been tough to clear the schedules on BBC One.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus, given that they didn't even have it yet. So
I wasn't hoping for an actual full-on episode. I mean, well, obviously I'm hoping for a full-on episode at any moment, but my like, I was like, okay, it's probably going to be a trailer, but my secret hope was that it would be like a little short, several minute, like prelude kind of a thing that wouldn't necessarily need time on BBC One because it could be like an internet only thing.
Right.
And the BBC could go back to calling it a prequel.
See, notice I specifically said prelude,
prelude,
not
I know.
freaking prequel.
Yeah.
Words have meaning.
One of the reasons we probably won't get that in any form is because they're doing it in DWM in the comics. So, and RTD has gone on record saying this is the prelude. Pardon me, before I screw it up. This is the thing before,
right?
The actual show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Beep the Meep. Did we talk about Beep the Meep yet?
No, I mean, how much do you want to go into it? Because I feel like
that's true.
Some people want to know everything possible and they can Google that. But I feel like if we talk about what Beep the Meep was in the comics, that's going to be kind of potentially spoilery, depending on how closely RTD hews to that character. Yeah. He may be just taking it and changing the characterization, but maybe not. So, like, I mean, this is up to you guys. It's your podcast. I'm just curious how deep you want to go.
I was only going to mention
I think you're right.
that you think he's cute.
Oh my gosh. Like, I immediately fell in, like, I had heart eyes. I was like, it's like, I love the pating. And I was like, oh my God, it's the pating.
Right.
But like, if it was fuzzy and cute and acting all nice and stuff. And I was just like, I just want to hug Beep the Meep.
the little Meep.
Well, that might not work out. But anyway.
And like the Pating, he's a bad guy.
Or is he?
Well, I mean, he seems to be chased by the Roth warriors, but
yeah.
I mean, we'll find out in 11 months.
He is in the comics. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Right, that's true.
It probably does, but maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, there's nothing saying that the plot line from the comics is going to be lifted for the specials, but I mean, Moffat pilfered from Big Finish with Night of the Doctor to make some of the Big Finish companions canon. So
which was great.
Why not plunge from the plunder from the comics? I mean, does this mean we're going to get Frobisher next, or?
Well, yes, and also I want to see Doctor Who and the Cricket Men worked into this,
right?
Which is basically just remaking an old classic Doctor Who anyway.
Yep.
So,
well, there's the novelization for the Cricket Men. So
yes, I know that's what I'm saying. We plumb from that.
Mm-hmm. It's good CG too. Or just like frame going back and forth, and like the hair is like it looks like a real little creature.
This is almost lip read.
Top Dobby Doctor. Come on.
Yeah,
that's the secret. It actually is a real creature. They've genetically created a Beep the Meep.
Yeah.
That means I can hug it, Kat.
Yeah. I mean,
it's endangered, so be careful.
I didn't watch. We watched like one episode of his Dark Materials. His Dark Materials. That's the name of the show. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe so.
And they have like all these little animals and stuff in there, and I thought the animals looked pretty good. And, that was done by Bad Wolf as well. So maybe this is just a sign of like, we know how to do little furry creatures. Thank you very much. So
we took a polar bear and made it round.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So. Looks good. Any other thoughts, comments on the trailer and stuff before I move on? Anyone?
Only that it made me like I got surprisingly emotional about it, not because of the contents of the trailer, but just having a trailer and some Doctor Who content on like Christmas. I got weepy. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit more verklempt than I expected myself to be, simply because I was seeing new Doctor Who put in front of my eyeballs in an attempt to remind me that it exists and get me to watch it. Yep.
As a trailer is wont to do.
Yep, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. I tweeted about it like, hope we enjoyed our last Christmas of having to cram in a viewing of a new Doctor Who Christmas special around having to quickly run off to a Christmas dinner somewhere else and then quickly whip home from that Christmas dinner to record a podcast because that's the only time that week that we would have to do it. I miss those days. I miss the frantic days of Christmas having to watch an episode and then eat and then look at Twitter and see the reaction of it and then run back home and record an episode. Oh, boy. Blessed inconvenience.
I was going to say, it really made my life difficult. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yep, next year, Christmas specials return, which will be Ncuti Gatwa's first appearance, and we saw the very same clip with the same background in that Russell T Davies said would never see again because we saw it in the teaser, but it's the exact same shot with the same background in the in this.
Could someone just please tell him what the hell's going on?
I know
he just wants to know.
Just needs to know what's going on. Gallifrey, what? Remember Gallifrey 1? I'm looking forward to Gallifrey 1. Warren, you bought your ticket, your plane ticket. You finally bought your ticket to Gallifrey 1.
Let me give a little preamble of my plane struggles. So WestJet, one of our two airlines, canceled pretty much everybody. I had actually done a family meeting previous, like almost an hour before, where we decided, even if we can get tickets, this is ridiculous. We're going to stay on some tarmac somewhere. Who knows if it's even Edmonton. Like, it's going to be bad. We're just not going to do it. And then they canceled me. So that's preamble to all that.
Right.
So I was sitting there going, should I book now? It's 25th. Let's see. Then I thought to myself, wait a minute, WestJet, which this is not just me. This is everybody. They screwed up royally. Erika and I didn't have anywhere near problems they did. I'm like, these guys are probably on the ropes, and that means the flights might be cheaper. And lo and behold, they were. So I went online, got a cheap-ish flight. They're not all that cheap, but it was cheaper than I thought it was going to be. It was cheaper than they previously were, and so I finally got my flight, yes. So in some weird way, it feels like revenge. I don't really know how, but it does.
Well done. Well, I'm glad you're going. Well, obviously, we're going to go, but you were going to get a ticket. They announced, California One announced a new block of guests, including Katie Manning, John Colshaw. He does Brigadier in the in the Big Finish, but he's been known for years for his celebrity impersonations. Tom Baker.
It's stunningly good.
Stunningly good. So he's going to be there. Daniel Anthony, Clyde Lager himself from Sarah Jane Adventures is going to be there. Jamie Magnus Stone, director of 6 episodes of the Jodie Whittaker era, 7 I think maybe.
Nice.
So we're always excited about directors coming to Gallifrey 1. Patrick O'Kane, who played Ashad, the Lone Cyberman. Daisy Ashford, who plays Liz Shaw. And the Big Finish is Lauren Cornelius, who plays Dodo. Matt Fitton, Kenny Smith, Christopher Jones, Blair Shedd, and a whole host of other folks were announced for Gallifrey 1 coming up in under 2 months.
Eep.
I know.
My word.
Yep, it's rushing up on us, but it's going to be very exciting. Of course, Jodie Whittaker being the headlining guest, which is going to cool. I just want to reiterate that starting January 1st through January 31st, I'm doing 31 Days of Jodie. I'm watching an episode of Jodie Whittaker a day, in addition to my existing Doctor Who.
But modern TV marathon. Is terrible.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what makes it possible. He doesn't want to watch any modern television.
I guess,
so
fair enough.
I haven't properly sat down to watch Jodie Whittaker episodes since they initially went out. So in preparation for that, and in preparation for the Memory Cheat Series 4, I'm gonna watch all the episodes again. So join me if you will. I'm not gonna tweet about them. So if you want to do it, go ahead. That's basically what it means. But so yes, Gallifrey 1. Is everyone looking forward to Gallifrey 1?
Yes,
of course we are.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been in 3 years, so yes, obviously.
I suppose, yeah. You've only been 3 years for a lot of people.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Yep.
Wow.
I might order some more fancy masks.
Right.
The fancy cloth ones that also have the wire cutter tested filters on the inside that do as well as KN95s.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of those?
Point me in that direction, please.
Yeah. What is the name of those?
Enro? ENRO?
Enro. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I got a bunch of them delivered to my parents' house when I went to the States because shipping to Canada is expensive.
A little bit.
But yes, they do different sizes, and having a mask that is sealed well and tight fitting is just as important as having a mask that actually filters things out, because if it's not sealed right, it's not actually going to filter any of that stuff out. So a thing that does multiple sizes is helpful. So yeah, and there's cool colors.
What size you need?
Yeah. There's a chart to measure your face, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm. So, Stephen, when you go on your 31 Days of Jodie on January 2nd and January 3rd, you get to watch episodes directed by Mark Tonderai.
I do, and there's a segue, everybody. Mark Tonderai, according to Millie Gibson, who I'm still going to call Millicent because I think it's funny. Millicent Gibson's CV on her agency website lists the director one director, apparently. It completely ignores Dylan Holmes Hinchcliffe. I can't remember the name of the guy. Is Mark Tonderai returning to do Doctor Who? Probably for the second block by the looks of it, of Doctor Who, which is very exciting. He is such a good director. And as you pointed out, Chris, in our little text chat, that now enters Mark Tonderai into the eligibility for the miniscope on Radio Free Skaro. So
also I saw a picture of him, and that man does mohawks well. That's a good mohawk.
Yeah, on his website. Yeah. On his website, he has, and he's wearing a Led Zeppelin T-shirt. And I know that he shoots a lot. Like, he actually is his own camera operator for a lot of stuff too. Like, he actually shoots his own stuff, which is really,
fascinating.
I like sort of groundbreaking kind of,
Peter Hyams did that a lot too, actually.
Who did? Sorry.
Peter Hyams, director of 2010 and many other things.
Did he? I don't know.
He was one of the guys who shot his own stuff.
Kubrick did a little bit too, didn't he? Kubrick. I think I seem to recall.
Well, even if he didn't, he might as well have.
Yeah.
So,
like Robert Rodriguez, writing, directing, editing, producing, everything.
Yeah, well, sometimes, like Robert Rodriguez, that's not such a great idea. Hey, the same movie for 20 years. That sounds great.
Anyway, Mark Tonderai, very exciting to get him back at the Doctor Who fold. So, my word, Doctor Who is going to continue to look good, shall I say. It looked pretty great in the Jodie Whittaker era, so glad to have him back. Doing Doctor Who. We talked about last episode that we talked about Doctor Who leaving Crave. It still says it's leaving January 6th. And we were keeping an eye on other places because it looks like it was going from in New Zealand and Australia.
Where's our committee on that?
Yeah, well, it does. The HBO Max in the States listed all the stuff that's coming and going from HBO Max in January, and Doctor Who is not listed among them. So I don't know what the deal is there. One assumes it's a noteworthy enough program to be listed. I mean, they're saying that Elmo Saves Christmas is gone on January 6th.
Gasp.
You would think that Doctor Who would warrant.
Nobody saved Elmo.
Yeah, Babylon 5 is going on January 25th.
I know.
After a 2-year deal, I think is how it kind of works. So it's gone there. So, but no mention of Doctor Who. So we continue to look on. This is because obviously Doctor Who has to leave HBO Max in its library stuff before it can come to Disney Plus in the future. So we wait and see. It looks like there might be a bit of a slow fade out across the globe of Doctor Who leaving streaming services before it shows up on one. So
there's a long time between now and new Doctor Who, and
yes,
who knows when Disney Plus is going to start getting any sort of a back catalog anyway.
Yeah.
When I see this article you put in the show notes at radiofreescaro.com,
thank you,
has a mention of The Last of Us, which was partly filmed here in Edmonton.
It was. I would walk to hockey work in the summer of 2021, I guess it was.
Sure.
Yeah, that's when they're filming it here, and they shut down parts of 104th Street. There's like disheveled bus and broken down stuff and everything. Basically looked like 104th Street. I'm kidding, of course. So yeah, I walked by the set every day. I felt like Warren. I felt like, I should walk through it. I should
irritated. You're irritated.
Yeah,
yes.
I should have.
Can I go off on a tangent about The Last of Us?
Please.
The guy who made Chernobyl, his name escapes me. Craig Mazin. That's his name.
There you go. Yeah.
Craig Mazin. Chernobyl is excellent, and this might be excellent too. It's based on a video game. The thing, it's not the show, but the video game itself, which is a good video game. Every single gamer who's never read a book goes on about how this is our great work of art. I play it. I'm like, it's zombies. It's the same old crap as always. What's the big deal here, guys?
Right.
Like, it's a good video game, but read a book, please. I beg of you, read any book, not Harry Potter, any other book. So that's my reaction.
I started playing it and I bounced off it.
You did a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't gone. I got like a couple sections in, and I was playing other stuff. It's fine. It's not a bad game or anything. It's just I just don't understand the abject love for it. But whatever. I've read a book, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the beginning of the story. I would probably rather read a book of that story than have to play through it with the mechanics. Yes. But I've read enough stories that are similar to where it looked like it was going that I was like, yeah, I'm good.
That too. Yeah.
So I'd rather play.
Yeah, that was exactly what my reaction was.
Yeah. If it was on Xbox, I'd play it, but I don't have an Xbox. I'm not getting a PS4 or 5 just to play one video game. I've already done that with other games, so
I totally did that.
Yeah, I know
with Horizon Zero
Dawn. That's right, you did.
So who am I to talk?
Yeah, you did indeed. Anyway, so we wait and see where Doctor Who when it will leave HBO Max, along with other things that HBO produces itself, but would spend less money to not have it anymore than to air it for tax reasons. It's quite something. So. Anyway, let's, before we get on to the Doctor Who holiday special Deathmatch, let's take a quick look back in the Time Lash, that weekly feature where we see what happened this week in Doctor Who. It's slightly shorter because we're starting this on December 27th through the 31st. But on December 27th, one thing happened in Doctor Who history. They recorded some of the Daleks' Master Plan.
That's it.
That's it.
The 28th, though, let me tell you, I'm so happy for the 28th of December because the debut broadcast of Tom Baker's first episode, Robot, happened.
See, I thought you were going to say debut broadcast of The Crotons. I was very excited. And then you said Tom Baker, and I was like, whatever.
We'll get there. We don't have to.
If you squint, the Crotons and the giant robot look about the same.
Also, the survivors, the first proper look at the Daleks actually showed up on December 28th, 1963. The reason I'm happy about, obviously because we have Tom Baker, but because otherwise, like, we were literally 3 days away from having Tom Baker's 10-year beef from 1975 to 1981. And given that he did 7 seasons, it makes it look like he did 6 years. And so for my own brain, it just sort of like, it makes me feel much better to see that 74 to 81 because that's 7 years for 7 seasons.
Nerd. I love you.
Yeah, total nerd.
Yeah.
Number nerd.
It's just like because Peter Davison was going to be, I think, initially in the autumn of 81 when he signed on. But eventually the bump Castro Valva to early 82. But so many times I see Peter Davison's tenure lasted from 1981 to 84, which is wrong. Yeah. Warren, you were going to say.
I have 2 things in here. Yes. One, this is completely just a sop to Liz Miles. In 1971, Robert Sloman is commissioned to write The Time Monster as a replacement for the Daleks in London, which I just thought, every time I see The Time Monster, I just laugh because Liz loves it so much. And I do not. And then 1983, Philip Martin proposes Doom Wraiths, Space Sargasso, and Valiant Shadows. Those are cool names. Space Sargasso in particular is a pretty cool name.
That is really cool. Now, I like that he proposes 3 things. Was he just like, so Eric, say a word.
Cutler, that lazy bastard.
Like, is he just like sitting across the table? Doom Race. Nah. Space Sargasso. Nah. Okay. Valley of Shadows? No, I think we're done here. Just write Vengeance on Varos and get it to us by tomorrow. Kenny, thanks very much.
Oh, fine. Yeah, all right.
That's pretty much it. Moving on to December 29th. Oh, happy birthday to we lost him in the last year. Bernard Cribbins was born on December 29th, 1928. Wow. And he lived a long and unfruitful life. And we didn't see him in the trailer. I know he was on set during the shooting of the Tennant specials. I don't know how much he participated or was allowed to.
I think you saved that. But I think you saved that for the last trailer.
You save a Wilf moment. Yeah, you do. Jackie Lane is contracted for 13 episodes, beginning with The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, Part 4, on December 29th, 1965. So what'd that take her to? The Ark, also all the way through the Gunfighters, essentially. And so she gets another one of 6 episodes, and then she's done.
They went through companions like tissue paper in those days.
They really did. 1982, after, I think we had this earlier a few weeks ago where Tom Baker says, yeah, you know what, sure, I'll show up in the 5 Doctors. But then December 29th, Happy New Year, Terrence Dix. No, I'm not going to be in the 5 Doctors after all.
As a new Doctor Who fan, this was the greatest injustice I had ever seen.
Same.
At the time.
Yeah, I never saw it for years afterwards, but I knew that he wasn't in it. But he... I
still love it.
Oh, I do too. It was Kat's first Doctor Who story, The 5 Doctors.
Wow, yeah, that's the deep end.
Yeah,
that's the definition of the deep end, Kat.
Kat, how did Tom Baker not being in it end up affecting your feelings about Doctor Who in general and the 4th Doctor? Did it make a difference that he wasn't there to start with, or not?
It did, because I waited to watch a lot of 4th Doctor stuff because I was like, I don't need to go backwards from Peter Davison. I'm happy where I am. I'll just go forward. With all my beliefs, and then
nicely done.
And then started at the 1st and worked my way from the 1st to the 4th.
Wow.
So I didn't understand at first, I didn't understand the whole fervor about Tom Baker being like the best doctor. Because I was like, but Peter Davison's right there. How are you doing this?
That's a pretty good argument, frankly. But
yeah,
still
I hope that years of perceived fan wisdom have changed your mind on that, and that you are now.
We both know it's done the opposite.
I know. Kat the Contrarian, happy to have you aboard. December 30th is a slightly busier day in history. Head of drama Sydney Notes 1963 demands an explanation from producer Verity Lambert for the bug-eyed monsters that appeared in the Daleks episode 2. How dare you throw these robots in and ruin my show? And then he finds out that there was like 10 million people watching, and the rest is history. Good.
Thanks, Daleks.
Yeah. Thanks, Sidney Newman, for, saying, you know what? You got a better handle on this than I do. Mm-hmm. Go forth.
But thanks, Verity Lambert, for also recognizing that she had a better handle on it and just going forth and doing it without asking permission first. She asked for
forgiveness.
for forgiveness later and got it.
Yes, she did. Yeah. Happy birthday, Saul Metzstein, a director of 6 different Doctor Who episodes, yet to appear in the miniscope. I know he's in there. I know he's one of the few remaining directors in there. And someone who I talked to back in 2012, I think it was, at Gallifrey 1.
2 weeks younger than me. That's annoying.
Oh, he is too. How about that? Happy belated birthday, Warren. We already said your birthday, Warren.
Thank you.
So,
you already said it.
Yeah, it's already fine.
I didn't. Happy birthday, Warren.
Thank you.
I didn't either. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
A notable thing on December 30th, 1967, the debut broadcast of The Enemy of the World, Episode 2. The last episode of Doctor Who broadcast, the old 425-line system.
Wow.
January 1st, BBC One went to 625, so yeah.
Most important time lash we've ever done.
I would like to point out that is not listed on the time lash. That is just information that Stephen knows in his head.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Well,
never mind.
It was exciting that when the Enemy of the World came back, obviously it was exciting too, but everyone thought like, will the first 2 episodes be in like 475 line or something like that, or will it be 625? And of course it was 625, because why would they shoot the first 2 episodes of a story in an entirely different format? No, just because when it was going to be broadcast. So yeah, but that's when it went out. So there we go. And it remained at 625 literally up until Planet of the Dead. So
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, which is why all the de-interlacing looks like it does.
Exactly. Yes, thank you.
In Warren's fan film. Can I point out, debut broadcast of The Power of Kroll, Episode 2 on December 30th, 1978, had something like, I'm going this off the top of my head, 12.6 million viewers.
Wow.
Almost double what it got for the first episode. What was happening? There must have been a snowstorm over the holidays in the UK in 1978, or everyone just thought, you know what? A massive giant squid showed up at the end of the last episode, and we need to see what's going on.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day where I can't remember what the sitcom they were talking about, but it was a sitcom nobody remembers, and they looked up how many viewers they had, and it's way more than any streaming behemoth gets, like more than Game of Thrones. It was like getting 18 million people, which was nothing back in those days.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the sitcom because it's eminently forgettable, but an eminently forgettable sitcom that ran for like a year got massive amounts of people watching it.
Huge.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe not as much as a giant squid did, though, on December 30th,
No, I guess not.
1978. I also want to point out that the 10th anniversary story, The Three Doctors, began its run on December 30th, 1972.
That math doesn't work out, does it?
A month and a week after its 9th anniversary. Chronologically, started its 10th season, of course.
Right.
But still.
So it's really a 10th season special, not a 10th anniversary special.
I think so. Yeah, if you want to be...
Please don't unleash that on the internet. I do not need to be corrected.
It's out there. It's out there now.
Toby Haydock was doing it because he covered it recently for the Patreon feed for Happy Times and Places.
But he's funny.
Yeah, and he was...
So I'm fine with him doing it.
He was like going on like, why is this? It should only be the 9th anniversary. He wasn't that upset. Anyway, last day, December 31st, New Year's Eve. It's funny that 1996 Universal Television's license for Doctor Who was originally due to expire. It was granted an extension. But of course, December 31st is when the actual episode happens in 1990, in the futuristic space year of 1999. Remember that?
Well, it is.
Remember
Space :
I know.
1999.
Remember we were looking forward to like, oh, what's New Year's Eve in 1999 going to be like? And then Y2K nearly happened, and then nothing happened, and then
Yeah, I sat in a TV station bored. That's what New Year's Eve 1999 was.
Yeah, nothing happened because a whole bunch of people, me included, did a crap ton of work to make sure everything continued to work after Y2K.
Were you doing that? I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah. I worked for the state of Wisconsin at the time, and I did so much data entry fixing stuff just
Like
to make sure
changing zeros to ones and stuff.
there was a lot of stuff that had to be shifted over to different systems, and yes, we were scrambling along with many millions of other like IT people across the world. So I think we should give them credit where it's due and not say, "Oh, nothing happened." Say, "Nothing happened."
Okay, yes,
celebratorily.
Yes, that's all very true, but I just want to talk about the opposite. My experience was sitting in this TV station, and we had our bosses there who could barely turn a computer on without getting confused. And Stephen knows exactly what I'm talking about. Standing there, making sure it worked. I'm like, what are you going to do other than scream when this goes, belly up? Nothing. You're just going to scream. And luckily, it did. So nothing happened. Was sort of my, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get yelled at.
You and I were across a parking lot, having not even met, I don't think, at that point. Because you were at Super Channel. I was at ITV on midnight shift. I offered to come in early, like an hour and a half early, so the person I was succeeding to go off and have a New Year's Eve special, because I wasn't going anywhere. Obviously, I was having to work at midnight. And I just remember being in the room with like 7 or 8 texts, just like, standing, just waiting. Oh boy, waiting for that clock to strike 0, and then it went. And okay.
Yep.
Is it wrong that a small part of me was, I really hope this does go wrong?
No, so I didn't have to worry about it. It's not my fault.
I mean, I was pretty relaxed at that point. I think I was downtown Madison wearing a bunch of warm clothes and watching fireworks from the Capitol area, and then went back home and played Trivial Pursuit. That is how I spent New Year's Eve 1999.
Wow.
Yep, on brand.
That doesn't sound so bad to me.
Yeah.
Yep. The Millennium Edition of Trivial Pursuit.
That's right.
Yep.
Happy Millennium. Anyway, anything else? Any of the other 3 things that happened on December 31st strike your fancy? Anyone?
Nah.
No?
Not so much, no.
All right. That's fine. We can wrap it up for now. That is the Time Lash for another week. A little bit of other stuff from Big Finish. The Ninth Doctor adventures, Sage of Fear, are coming out from Big Finish in February of 2023. Big Finish, The War Doctor Begins, Comrades in Arms is coming in May of 2023. And then some Blake 7 stuff. There's a Series 1 novelization box set coming from Big Finish on May 27th, 2023. Why May 27th? Is there something special? March 27th, 2023, which is said is the 45th anniversary of the original broadcast of the first season's final episode, the episode called Orak. So there's a whole host of actual novelizations, one of which, the first 2 stories, are written by friend of the show, Paul Cornell. How about that? He's writing way back in Spacefall. I love Spacefall. That's my favorite of that whole season, I think. Other folks like Mark Platt, Gary Russell, Jacqueline Rayner, Steve Cole, Una McCormack, and James Goss are all writing for
Holy
these.
moly, that is a crackerjack lineup.
Yeah, that is a crackerjack lineup. And I mean, what a sad week for Blake 7 in many ways, because this is a great celebration of it. But as we talked about last week, Chris Boucher, the script editor for all 4 seasons of Blake 7, died. Toby Haydock's wonderful obituary for him went up in The Guardian. And just earlier today, it was announced that Stephen Grief, who played Travis in that first season of Doctor Who, has passed away. So yeah, Stephen Grief also featuring in an episode of The Sandbaggers.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so very sad. Obituaries. As you say, Chris, there's no other real place for him.
Yep.
And then the end. So let's cheer ourselves up. How about? What do you say about that, folks? Let's now play, for the first and only time in history, the Doctor Who Holiday Special Deathmatch. We're not playing the whole song. Welcome, if you will, to the Doctor Who Holiday Special Deathmatch, where we will, once and for all, determine the greatest Doctor Who holiday special to date. Here's how this will work. We have compiled 16 Doctor Who holiday specials into a bracket just for Warren. These specials are seated 1 through 16 in order of their original appreciation index.
Wow.
Oh, God. Also bracket, because I don't understand any of that
with the
stuff.
tiebreaker being a final viewing figure. So here's how we get to 16 specials, right? So The Unquiet Dead, while set at Christmas, not broadcast at Christmas, so it's out. We're counting The End of Time, parts 1 and 2, as one story.
Are we including part 2, even though
Yes.
it's not Christmas? Okay.
Parts 1 and part 2, because it is a holiday special.
Gotcha.
Spyfall Part 1, while it was broadcast on January 1st, 2020, was the first episode of Series 12. So we're not counting that one.
Okay.
That one's out.
Fair.
But all the other Jodie Whittaker New Year's Day specials are included. So that's how we got to 16. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll reseed each round based on their initial placement. It's on a proper bracket per se. Each contestant will be given a chance to speak up in support of each special, and then once the debating has concluded in each round, we'll take a vote, and the winning special will move on, while the losing special will be eliminated. Does all make sense?
That sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see if we end up with the same story that we ended up with when we did this on Verity. And I don't know what it was because I didn't put it in the show notes, so I have no idea. Also, it was in 2020, so who knows how? I don't know if what stories Deb included at that time. So,
well, we'll find out. All right, is everyone ready to begin this?
Sure.
Ready as I'll be. Yeah.
Okay, here is the first matchup. The first seed, the one that finished with the highest appreciation index, an average of 89 with an average viewing figures of 12.16 million. The End of Time is top seed in this whole thing, facing off against the lowest seed, the most recent holiday special, Eve of the Daleks, which had a AI of 77 and viewing figures of 4.40 million. Who is going to speak up in defense of The End of Time, the top seed in this?
I will say something nice about that.
Okay.
It has some pretty good bits in it that don't amount to a whole much, but the bits that are good are very good. There's just not enough of them, and they don't cohere into anything. Mm-hmm. And it's a car crash. But the part with Wilf on the spaceship is great. The parts at the end, a couple of them where he does this big grand farewell tour. The part with Donna at the end is very touching. Like those little bits. The part with the kid from Sarah Jane Adventures running out in the street. Luke. He stops him, and then Sarah Jane knows what the deal is. Like, that's a great little scene. Like, there's bits of it that are great, and then the rest of it is terrible. So there's that.
Right. Anyone else want to speak up in behalf of have anything nice to say about The End of Time? No. This is your time. This is your chance, everyone.
I'd be shocked if you did.
Chris, Kat, nothing? No?
I'm trying to think if there's anything positive to say.
I'm sure I could come up with something nice to say, but I feel like it would be a waste of everybody's time.
Right?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I just wasted your time. Congratulations.
I could certainly lie, but I feel that's not right.
No.
Well, all right then. Well,
we're taking both parts as a whole, right?
We are taking both parts as a whole. Yeah, it's one complete piece of crap. Yeah. But I don't have a vote in these, so that's fine. I could say that. Without...
you're not voting? Okay.
No, because then we have. Or maybe I could. I'll be the tiebreaker.
You can be a tiebreaker.
I'll be the tiebreaker. Yeah,
well,
I'll be the tiebreaker.
This one, I'm guessing there's not going to be a tie.
Yeah. Maybe not. Well, I don't know. It's facing off against Eve of the Daleks. But Chris, did you have something to offer for
End of Time?
For The End of Time there? If not, that's fine.
When I watched the Tennant Blu-ray set,
I
skipped The End of Time.
Right.
Whereas Eve of the Daleks was delightful.
Yes,
so you could say
was.
that skipping The End of Time saved you time for watching the Blu-ray and allowed you to watch more Blu-rays.
There you go.
That's true.
Yep.
So there is that going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Eve of the Daleks, written in a week by Chris Chibnall. When I can't remember what the deal was, but I know he wrote it very quickly, starring Aisling Bea.
Yeah,
who was
great.
Who was great in it, and featuring Daleks and time loops and stuff. And
I love a time loop story, and this was a nice,
the time loop is
different take on it, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Time loops aren't done enough in Doctor Who, and it's nice to see when they do get included. I like that the Daleks evolved with different weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, some differences there. It's not just the same old bog standard Daleks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Iterative stories like that's my catnip. I love it.
The romantic stuff between Ashland B and what's his name, Nick.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Well, he's a bit weird.
He's a little bit stalkery kind of thing.
He's a creepy dude.
Yeah.
The whole setting of it inside like a the storage place. Like, I mean, you got to set it someplace, I guess. But I don't know if that'd be my first choice.
I kind of like that because it contained it.
It did contain it, yeah.
It's funny. That's what I like about it. It's really funny, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very clever in terms of when you need a tool or something to get out of a jam. If you're in a storage locker place, like there's a very good chance that you could find something useful or totally weird. Like big cans of
like how many
SpaghettiOs or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I mean anything featuring Mrs. Doyle from Father Ted is good in my books.
Oh yeah. I mean I feel like
also
easy call.
The running gag about calling at New Year's before the lines get jammed, which gets funnier and funnier the more it happens.
That's true. That was funny.
I appreciate the fact that they didn't find a way to like cut the phone lines. The phone actually plays a part without being like the get out of jail card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the battery doesn't run out or that standard sort of phone thing. Yeah. Well, I think we've spoken about rather glowingly about both stories. Let's put it to a vote.
Okay.
I'll sort of go around the table. How about Warren, your vote? End of Time or Eve of the Daleks? Okay, Chris, you?
Eve of the Daleks, easy.
End of Time loses.
Okay. Kat?
Like you made a point of saying that.
I would vote for Eve.
Eve of the Daleks, and now even though it's perfunctory now, Erika, what about you?
I perfunctorily vote for Eve of the Daleks.
Eve of the Daleks, amazing! What an upset! The 16th seeded Eve of the Daleks wins. Wow, I'm not at all surprised on this podcast.
What a shock!
We know better than stats, apparently.
We do.
Of course we do.
All right, the second matchup here, the second seeded versus the 15th. Number 2 seed in all this, based on AI, is the Snowmen, hitting 87 and a viewing figures of 9.87 million, up against the 15th seed Revolution of the Daleks, which had a 79 AI back in 2019 is when that was. So there you go. Snowmen, which features Matt Smith and the Paternoster Gang and Clara against Revolution of the Daleks with Chris Noth and John Barrowman and all the other people who are now canceled in Doctor Who. So there we go. Who wants to speak up? For the Snowmen, let's go with the top seed first. The Snowmen.
I have a special place in my heart for the Snowmen because it was the very first episode that we covered on Verity.
That's right.
And I also really enjoy Jenna Coleman. And I didn't particularly love seeing the Doctor being so grumpy. But there were some really cool visual gags with pulling the ladder down with the umbrella.
Oh yeah.
And then Clara jumping for it. And I like the fact that she has 2 different lives. Basically, she's living as a barmaid and as a nanny. And I mean, it's fun winter hijinks. And then she dies at the end, which is also kind of it felt of a piece in terms of like some British Christmas stories that are sometimes sad or scary.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of the Snowman.
It's kind of hard to vote against an episode that has both the iconic Richard E. Grant as well as Ian McKellen.
Right.
I was going to say Ian McKellen. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll take him doing anything, even a snowman. Also,
the whole Clara thing was. The whole Clara thing was a heck of a good, fun thing as well. And the way that Moffat played with Clara's character and introduction and whatnot, especially with her being in Asylum, which was a complete shock to everybody. And when that press screening or fan screening, whatever happened, and everyone kept stum about her presence, and like that was kind of cool and a nice kudos to fandom there. And Matt Smith.
Not a phrase.
Matt Smith was just phenomenal in this. But Revolution of the Daleks, I don't mind.
Oh.
I gotta talk. I gotta speak up for one thing.
Yep.
I mean, I like the Snowman. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna vote for the other one. But first, it's the introduction of the new and best modern era TARDIS.
That's true. The Michael Pickwood set.
Yeah.
Yep. Showing off in glorious fashion.
I like Capaldi's version of it better, but it is the best, as far as I'm concerned, the best one.
Yeah. Kat, what say you about the Snowman?
The snowmen are like proper creepy, and I feel like we don't get enough creepy snowmen. They're always the nice, like
true,
frosty kind of snowmen.
Scare those kids at Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do like at the beginning where the little boy's playing with the snowmen. They're like, "Don't you want to play with the other kids?" And he's like, "I don't need other kids." And I'm like, "That's me as a child. They represent me as a child. I'd rather play with the snowmen." Only the snowmen I played with were alive. I don't know. It's got a lot going for it, but I had to look it up on the TARDIS wiki because I don't remember any of it. So that usually says something for, like, Clara's amazing and the two roles are amazing, but I don't know. It's not.
Right. Well, Chris, you mentioned Revolution of the Daleks. You said you were sort of leaning towards that one. Why is that?
I don't know if I'm leaning toward it, but I don't mind it. Like, it's got its own stuff. I mean, John Barrowman's return. Obviously, we saw him in
Fugitive of the Doctor.
Fugitive of the Judoon as well.
Rather, yeah.
But I like the setting. I like all the myriad of aliens in the prison. We have a Pating in there.
Yeah, we do.
If as we may recall, it's. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Revolution far more recently than I have the Snowman, so it's a little more fresh in the mind. But
wow. I'm the opposite. Like, I guess I've seen it more recently, but I must have seen the Snowman enough times that I remembered the Snowman fairly well, and I had to just like read the wiki right now to remind myself what the heck happened in Revolution of the Daleks. And now that I remember what it is, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was an interesting take on the Daleks, you know, the let's produce Daleks to be police robots. And, you know, here we are now near the end of 2022 and San Francisco tried to make it legal for their enforcement robots to use lethal force on people. Did you not watch Doctor Who, San Francisco people, city council? I guess they didn't. So, I mean, it was. They
voted for it and then they said, no.
Yeah, they walked it back because people got upset, rightly so. And you know what? I bet a bunch of those people that got upset, they watched Revolution of the Daleks, so they knew they should.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, so it does a nice job of taking real life and things and mixing it together with Daleks and Doctor Who and yeah, it's always a good thing.
That was this is the one with the scene with the Daleks in front of number 10, right?
Yes, yeah, with the the Prime Minister. I can't remember her name now, but she was
Joe Patterson.
Yeah, Joe Patterson.
Harriet Jones.
Yeah, no, she was
Harriet Walter played the character.
Yeah, Harriet Walter playing Joe Patterson.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Oh, this is
I keep conflating the two.
Yeah.
This and Resolution. So at first I thought this was Resolution we're talking about, but no, it's not. So I think I have to go for the Snowman because there's some good stuff in Revolution. It's a lot of fun, but Snowman has more meat to it, I guess.
Right.
If that makes any sense. But Resolution, when we get to that, I'll rave about that.
Oh, we'll see.
Depends what it's up against, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Well, are we ready to vote then on this matchup between the Snowman and Revolution of the Daleks? Anybody else have anything, any other case to make for either?
Revolution of the Daleks has the prison break sequence.
Right.
It does.
Oh, that was delightful.
Yeah.
And has the whole, what are you being charged with? Oh, evading the Judoon twice and 7,000 other offenses.
Right.
Oh man, this is quite hard. I am struggling.
I know. This is what the Deathmatch is all about. Well, let's. Are you struggling enough? I don't want to give the same order of votes each time. But
we've also got the departure of Graham and Ryan in Revolution.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Which kind of sad.
I had almost forgotten about that.
You know what? Yeah. With that, Chris, you crystallized it for me. Now I know which way I'm voting.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's put it to a vote, Erika. What is your vote, Snowmen or Revolution of the Daleks?
I'm going to vote for Snowmen because I like beginnings, and this is setting up the Clara story in a way, setting the Doctor on a quest, as opposed to the ending, which I thought was very good, of Graham and Ryan. And but I want to just say I love Revolution of the Daleks, but I'm voting for the Snowmen.
Okay, Kat, what about you?
I'm going to cancel Erika's vote out. I'm going to say Revolution because, John Barrowman and stuff aside, Jack Harkness appearing in an episode is always going to make it
so fun.
Top. And a prison break and, the vortex manipulator being used. It's just, you can't not vote for Revolution.
All right. Chris, what about you?
Oh, man. I was all ready to vote for the Snowman, quite frankly, and now I'm not sure. I think I still have to stick with the Snowman.
Okay.
Overall, yeah.
So what it is. Tougher though, isn't it? Tougher matchup here
in
this one.
Yeah, can't they all have an end of time in there to make it easy to vote?
No.
Wow.
We're doing this by stats. Stats are the decider on this.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, the Snowmen are just so frightening and freak those little kids out. I can't say no to that.
All right. Warren, it's all on you. Is there going to be a tie or will the Snowmen win?
No. I like Resolution more, and that's at first what I thought we were talking about.
Right.
But I like Revolution of the Daleks, but the Snowmen, like Erika said, it has beginnings. It's also the beginning of Moffat's whole thing that goes in Name of the Doctor and Time of the Doctor and all that stuff. Like all that stuff is kind of started here, which I really like that
7B
thread.
stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff is I find fascinating. And also I'm a Moffat fanboy, so I'm going to go for Snowmen.
All right, the Snowmen moves on to round 2. But hey, a good showing for Revolution of the Daleks, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
According to the Wikipedia article, I'm reminded that the Snowmen had 3 prequels, Erika. 3.
Oh yeah.
Prequels. The third matchup, here we go, folks, finishing with an AI of 86 and a staggering 13.31 viewing figures. It's Voyage of the Damned in the 3 slot versus the 14th seed with an 80 AI, Resolution, the 2019 New Year's special, directed by Wayne Yip, featuring a Dalek. Voyage of the Damned, of course, featured a giant Titanic in space and Kylie Minogue. That's your contest. Warren, you were going to speak up about Resolution and
yes.
beforehand. What do you got to say about that? The
okay, I'm going to speak with my praises for Resolution as opposed to, well, we'll wait for Voyage of that. Resolution, when it gets going, it goes like a mother. Like it just goes and goes and goes. And also, I like the fact that Chris Chibnall's like, oh, Daleks, eh? And he completely subverts Daleks in a cool way that we didn't see coming. Like he takes this junkie Dalek, which could have been really bad, and it wasn't. It was really cool. Also, that Dalek is proper creepy. Like there's a bunch of good stuff in this story. Like I just think we did not know what to expect with the New Year's special, and I think he knocked that one out of the park. I think this is probably the best of the 3 as far as I'm concerned. Also, Wayne Yip's direction is great too. Like you said, that whole thing on the road where it just takes out all those guys, it's excellent.
Especially the aerial shot of all the destruction there as well. At the road at the end of nowhere or whatever.
I think
because Daleks were.
Yeah, I think the battle you mean was in the sort of the quarry or gravel pit or something like that. There was 2 different ones on the road, but yeah, I know the sequence in which you mean though. But
even in the Capaldi era, the Daleks were getting a little tired, and here they kind of reinvigorated them with this guy. So,
I think Chibnall actually kind of reinvigorated the Daleks in general. I think one might even think about. Yeah,
I was a very big fan of the notion of these, medieval hordes running across a Dalek creature, and it takes like everything they can muster to defeat it, and then chopping it up into 3 parts and burying it, at 3 ends of the world, basically, as it were, and yet it still finds a way to get back together and wreak havoc centuries later.
Yeah, I'm not like super in love with Resolution, but I do appreciate all the Dalek stuff that you've mentioned, and I think it was super well directed. And I like it quite a bit. It's not one of my favorite Christmas specials, but holiday specials. But I enjoyed it, and the stuff with Ryan's dad, like that the direction of that scene was
so good.
friggin' amazing. Like it's just
So
there's a lot of good stuff in here. So yeah, it's solid.
Kat, what about you? You go ahead.
I was going to say Charlotte Ritchie, when she plays the possessed person, she just does such a phenomenal job.
Of BBC Ghosts fame.
Yes, I know. I kind of don't ever want to go back. I don't ever want to go back and watch this because to me now, she's always her character from Ghosts. Right. Please don't make me watch her be possessed by a Dalek.
Yeah. Kat, do you have anything to say about Resolution?
Yeah, that whole her being possessed thing was the reason that I was going to be like, no, I don't like this story. There's something about the way it's, nothing against her acting, but there's something about the way that it's put together. I don't like it. It doesn't seem like classic horror trope possession kind of thing. And I think it's just because I'm a horror fan. But the way they treat the Dalek, like Chris, I think, mentioned how they cut it up and they put it 4 corners of the earth, just reminds me of like Alien or The Thing or all those wonderful older horror movies that Doctor Who doesn't do horror that often, but when it does, or it puts in elements of horror, it makes the episode stand out.
Well, all right. Well, what about Voyage of the Damned then? Which Erika's got something.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Voyage of the Damned. I do. It's, it does a play on, the Poseidon Adventure disaster movies very well, but there's so much stuff in there that just makes me uncomfortable. It is super fat phobic. It is, it seems to have some really uncomfortable things to say about like class and society. Like the people who don't have that much money are the ones who die, and like the couple, the woman and her husband who won the tickets, but they won because she dialed in so many times that they actually are farther in debt than they would have been because she called long distance to win the tickets, and he gets killed, and then she basically just kills herself for no good reason. Like, I think there's supposed to be a good reason in the script, but it is not done well enough on screen to actually make it make sense. So she's just like, yes, I don't have a husband to live for anymore, so now I am just going to die. And I'm just, no. And then you have like the Christ imagery with the 10th Doctor, and it's like, please, we get enough of that. And so there are a lot of things, and like at the end, Mr. Copper or whatever, he's so excited because he's got money. Like this whole episode is about money, and it's very uncomfortable. So as much fun as it is, and as much as I enjoy watching it, like I might choose to watch it over watching Resolution, but I don't know if I can vote for it because it just makes me feel icky. So there you go.
All right.
Mr. Copper, his malapropisms and such, his misunderstandings of how the Earth works adds some humor to it.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cringy. The relationship between Astrid and the Doctor is kind of not good. I mean, it's good, but
I don't mind it.
I'm trying to think of how to best describe this. It's creepy as hell.
Creepy as hell.
Creepy as hell.
All right.
The only good thing is Mr. Copper, I think. And maybe Wilf, I guess, because Wilf's in there as well.
Wilf's first appearance, yeah.
Wilf's first appearance.
True. He wasn't even Wilf then.
Russell Tovey's in this. That's right.
Russell Tovey's in him.
He's good.
Jeffrey Palmer's
Jeffrey
in
Palmer.
it.
I love Jeffrey Palmer to death. He's so good.
Yeah.
Banicafalata.
Was this the first? This wasn't the first appearance of somebody from Classic Who appearing in New Who, was it? With Jeffrey Palmer?
No,
it was amongst. Would have been amongst the first though.
No, I know.
The
first guy was the guy in the opening scene of Boomtown. For what it's worth, he appeared in Remembrance of the Daleks, but yeah, fact fans.
Yeah,
to say nothing of Liz Sladen, of course, but
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, this is like stunt casting gone mad with Kylie Minogue in there, and I mean, kudos to Doctor Who for getting her, I suppose. But man, no, all the stuff that Erika called out was just, especially the religious iconography with the angels flying the Doctor up Just like, oh.
I will say that it helped that I just listened to the Doctor Who, the Writers' Room podcast episode about Voyage of the Damned. So all of that stuff was very fresh in my mind. So thank you, Kyle and Eric, for pointing out those things that I already knew, but reminding me.
Right.
This does hold one special place in my heart, in so far that when I moved to the UK, this was the first full Doctor Who episode that aired after I moved there.
Uh-huh.
That's the one. That's one positive I can give it.
Aw. Well, I'm kind of sensing a theme here, but does anybody have anything else to say about either before we put it to a vote?
I would say that this episode, like, there's some good stuff in it. Like, everything you guys said is true and right on the money. I think this suffers from end of time-itis in reverse, I guess, because it thinks it's a bigger deal than it is. So that's the overall feeling I got. It's like, look how big and fantastic we are, and I'm like, you aren't that big and fantastic though.
Right.
It's not doing it to me. It's not bad. It's watchable. I think Kylie Minogue and David Tennant have great chemistry in it. She's good in it. But yeah, it's all the things you cited are right on the money as far as I'm concerned.
Also, how many people were cheering for the ship to crash into Buckingham Palace at the end?
True. Well, let's put it. Kat, I'll give you the first vote for this one. What do you think? Voyage of the Damned or Resolution?
Oh, Resolution. Easy. I didn't even bother saying anything because it just, in my mind, it seems so obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Warren?
Oh, Resolution. Yeah, totally. I like Resolution's just got way more going for it.
All right. Erica, what about you?
Yeah, like I said, I enjoy Voyage of the Damned, but I'm 100% voting Resolution.
All right. Chris, what about you?
I don't enjoy Voyage of the Damned, but I'm voting Resolution.
All right. That's the second statistical upset now in this
unanimous
in this one. Yep. So there we go. Resolution. The 14th seed beats Voyage of the Damned, the 3rd seed. On to the next one. Here's the next matchup.
Okay.
Number 4 seed with an AI of 86 and a viewing figures of 13.1 million, the second highest on this list. It's the Next Doctor versus the 13th seed Twice Upon a Time with an AI of 81. There you go. So the last SD1 and the last special of the Moffat era. If you're looking for a tie, there's no tie in there. But
you're telling me I have to vote for one of these?
You gotta vote for one. Yeah. Who wants to say stuff about why? Why do you say it's an easy vote, Warren?
I don't think it is.
I mean, we'll talk. Which one are we talking about first?
What do you want to talk about? Which one do you want to talk about? Well, we'll do Next Doctor. How about? Let's talk about the top seed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next Doctor has the exact opposite problem of Voyage of the Damned. It's too little. Like it's not much of a thing. Like it's somewhat entertaining, but there's not a whole lot to it really. And the mystery isn't much of a mystery at all. So yeah, it's fine, but it's one of those ones you go, oh yeah, I guess that was a Christmas special. You know, it's not bad per se. It's just kind of there.
86% of the people would argue different.
Well, that's not my problem.
Well, the way AI figures sort of worked seems to evolve.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Next Doctor was, there wasn't a lot to it. I really like the Mercy Hardigan stuff. I thought that was neat. I thought it was neat. You know, you've got this woman who is really competent and not, because she's a woman in her time, is not able to get ahead in the way that she would like to. So she turns evil and takes it out of people. It's like, well, you know what? I get that. But yeah, it was just, it seemed like a big joke in terms of the title. Like they're teasing us. Oh my gosh, who's the Next Doctor? Is it going to be David Morrissey? And you learn pretty quickly on it's not going to be. So what's the point? And
the way RTD and others kind of just frickin' leaned into that as well in the media.
Yeah, it was
irritating.
It felt like a prank that didn't go off as well as I would like it to. There's some stuff in there that I enjoy. It's pretty. I like the the setting in the era and the snow and all that kind of stuff, and even the weird cyber shades or whatever they are, the dog things, or they're kind of silly, but whatever, that's fine. But,
right.
But yeah, I don't have a lot of great things to say about it, I'm afraid.
Fans of Blackpool probably
I was
fist pumping the air.
Just about to say, like, that was when I saw that it was David Tennant and David Morrissey. I was like, oh my God, finally after really enjoying Blackpool far too many times, way more than is healthy. Seeing the Next Doctor was just, I enjoyed it like for that. And then add on top of that, you've got Victorian London at Christmas and you have the snow, and Rosita's awesome, and you have this kind of, in my mind, this cool mystery of like, why does he think he's the Doctor? How does he know about all this stuff? And I think people take it too seriously, and they expect it to be this big serious story, but it's just fun. And you know,
remember
Doctor Who can be fun sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember listening to, and I want to say it was their very first episode, the Oodcast review of The Next Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so blasted positive about it. And I was very much not positive about the episode. And listening to the Oodcast, and again, I want to say it was their very first one.
Right.
It made me, their enthusiasm for it made me want to go back and watch it again. And I didn't actually do it for a very long time after that,
Right.
but still, just their enthusiasm was very infectious. But we have Andy Goddard, the director, his only Doctor Who, did a decent job in some regards, like the funeral scene, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where it's like all like grays and whites and whatever, but then you've got Derval Kerwin in this crimson red dress, just starkly standing out from everything else, just looked gorgeous.
Also, wasn't this the first time they showed previous footage of Doctors in flashback form? Like they did the drawing and
they had the Journal of Impossible Things, but
that's what I mean. But this was the first time you saw old
actual proper footage of Paul McGann's Doctor and everything. Yeah,
and then we see it again in 11th Hour as well.
Yeah,
not that long after, I guess, but this is the first time, isn't it?
And I remember seeing Paul McGann going, "Yes, he counts. This is great."
Yep.
But oh man, the Cyber Shades, like, just like, give me a break. And the Cyber King, even worse.
Cyber King's pretty stupid, I have to say.
Oh my god.
So I said conflicting emotions then. What about, is there anything about Twice Upon a Time that would help people decide?
The info stamps being the way to kill the cyber. Oh, no.
I'm not done, damn it.
Twice Upon a Time then. David Bradley's Doctor, Peter Capaldi's finale.
Ugh.
It's one of my favorites. But go ahead, Chris.
I don't have good things to say about either one of these. I mean, they're both, I think they both look good and are beautifully directed, but I absolutely hated the idea of testimony. I thought it was like, just as much as I hated the, please don't cremate me thing, because we've taken all of the dead people from Earth and put them in a little bit of a matrix. And it's just like, anytime Moffat goes in that direction, I can't stand it. So it just kind of ruined the rest of it for me. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, we get a little bit of closure with Bill and Clara, but it's not them. Or if it is them, that means this testimony thing really has gone all around the galaxy and collected literally everybody. And I think that's horrific. So that's Doctor Who doing horror as far as I'm concerned. I wanted to like the first Doctor, 12th Doctor stuff, but I think the rest of the story bothered me so much that it just soured me on those bits, and also overdoing the sexism of the first Doctor when the first Doctor, maybe William Hartnell was like that, but the first Doctor wasn't quite that bad for the most part. And like, just even if he was bringing back those parts and putting them on center stage here in the year of 2017 just really rang false. Like that, it was just a very, very bad choice, I think. And it just, I would probably rather watch The Next Doctor again than Twice Upon a Time again, because it was just infuriating to me in so many ways. And part of that is because there are bits and pieces in there that I wanted to like the Mark Gatiss stuff, the World War I stuff. Like, it should be wonderful, and it's not, and that makes me upset. Yeah.
I think if Hartnell's stuff didn't exist and you couldn't reference the exact level of, I don't know if misogyny is the best word, but his attitudes toward women, if you couldn't actually reference that, and Moffat was going based on, like fan race memory or, childhood memory or something like that, and amped up David Bradley's characterization in that way, I could forgive it a little bit more. But because we have so much of Hartnell to reference directly, that the excess of that was definitely too much and too cringe.
All right. Anyone else, Chris? You have any? Well, you've had some thoughts about Twice Upon a Time. I don't know where you're at right now because Warren, you seem to like this a lot, but yeah. Well,
yes, I do.
Okay, Kat, what do you got about Twice Upon a Time?
I really enjoy it. I like multi-doctor stories. I like stories that fill in gaps from the classic series like this one does. I honestly, when other people were talking about things they didn't like, I was just, I had just forgotten about those parts. And just
I wish I could.
remembered all the good stuff. And plus it's Jodie's technically first appearance, which is good enough, like multi-doctor and that. And you've got this kind of horror-y element. And honestly, the first Doctor, while it is grossly overstated the way he is, I think back to the 5 Doctor and that incarnation of the first Doctor. And I'm like, it's not that far off for how horrible he is. So.
All right. Warren, what about you?
So I don't disagree intellectually with anything that anybody said against it. Mm-hmm. However, I kind of do what Kat does and just kind of bleep over the sexist, which Moffat does really lean into and he doesn't need to. Having said all that, I think Bradley does a fantastic job of playing the first Doctor. I just kind of buy him as the first Doctor during this whole thing. I think he's much better than Richard Hurndall. That's for damn sure. Sorry, R.I.P. Richard Hurndall. But
right.
But it looks great. Like Rachel Talalay does a great job with it. It's all the stuff, all the recreations of the 10th planet are really cool. Like, and most importantly, everything from when they land and put Mark Gatiss back, or whatever, Lethbridge Stewart, to when the first Doctor regenerates, it wrecks me every time. I just love that part. And I'm not even a huge first Doctor fan, but seeing him regenerate just kicks me every time. I love that part.
Mark Gatiss's delivery of, excuse me, first World War One.
Yeah, Mark Gatiss is great in that too. Yeah.
Oh.
And then the part where he's talking to the German soldier and he's kind of just basically scared because he's going to die. And then the whole thing happens with Armistice. All of that is just great as far as I'm concerned. And it's a low key way to end a regeneration, which I kind of like. There's nothing wrong with big noisy ones like Power of the Doctor or whatever, but it's kind of nice to have this be the way it just kind of slides on out. I think that was a really nice way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the greatest hits aspect, or the nostalgia aspect of this, with like bringing back Clara, Nardole, and Bill, and Rusty, and
I do appreciate the Rusty payoff. The other ones can fall off a cliff, but yay, Rusty.
One more thing, the little thing where not Bill asks the first Doctor why he left Gallifrey. That whole section is fantastic. Like, it's just really touching and interesting. You're like, oh, we're gonna hear some lore here, which then is flushed down the toilet by the timeless child. Never mind, but whatever.
Not necessarily.
Well, I'm intrigued by this vote. I'm legitimately curious of which way it's going to go. Warren, I'll give you the first vote because I kind of sense where it is.
It's Twice Upon a Time.
Twice Upon a Time. All right. Who hasn't? Who's got? Chris, we'll go with you. What about you? Where's your vote?
Oh man, I'm not a big fan of either. At the end of the day,
Okay.
It's a fairly weak way for Capaldi's Doctor and Moffat to go out, not unlike Tennant's Doctor and RTD to go out with The End of Time. But unlike The End of Time, I have to vote for Twice Upon a Time because I just can't vote for the next Doctor.
All right, Erika.
I want to echo basically everything that Chris just said. I had forgotten my first thought when you mentioned the two stories was that Twice Upon a Time does remind me of The End of Time in a little bit of a way. But I'm still going to vote for it because I think overall it's a better, stronger story than The Next Doctor. And someday I will watch it again. And I hope that I will manage to do what Kat did and forget about the stuff that I don't like. And then I will be able to sink into the feels of the rest of it. I hope.
Wow. So twice upon a time?
Twice upon a time, yep.
All right. Maybe this isn't as close as I thought. Kat, what about you?
I'm going to pick Twice Upon a Time as well, if only because in my mind, The Next Doctor is like one of my favorites, but I can recognize that it's not like the best. It's just going to get, well, for one, it's not going to go past this anyway. So I'll just say Twice Upon a Time and keep The Next Doctor in my heart. And I'm probably going to, Chris will have to sit through it because I'm probably going to want to rewatch it fairly soon.
Right.
Well, we have it on Blu-ray, so.
Yep, you do.
I just recently watched it too. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that.
Well, interesting. All right. Well, so basically 4 overtime games decided that best of 7 series right there. It almost feels like because they were close, but everyone leaned toward Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
4 overtime periods in the last game.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we're halfway through this, but I imagine the rest of the rounds won't go as long because, of course, there'll be fewer rounds, but also everyone has said their piece about these episodes. So don't worry. We're not going to hit the 3-hour mark probably on this podcast. Probably.
All right. Note to self: hit the 3-hour mark.
Let's see how long the debate on this one goes. The 5th seed now is with an AI of 84 and a viewing figure of 10.77 million. The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe versus the 12th seed with an AI of 82, The Wedding of River Song. Husbands of River Song, that's what I meant. I typed that wrong on mine. The Husbands of River Song. There we are.
Different.
Doctor, Widow, Wardrobe, Husbands of River Song. Who wants to speak up in defense of the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe?
I like it. I think it's fun. It's like a Narnia-based story. It does feel a little bit slight, and there's some silliness in there. Like, I don't care about the comedy duo in their robot suits, but the delight that the 11th Doctor has in this house that he has created for this family and these children, and like, a tap that runs lemonade, and it's just so sweet. I think it is wonderful. I get really annoyed about some of the bits about like being a mother makes such a big difference. And it's like, yes, it does in some ways, but it's a little bit hammered home a little hard. I don't know. I like it quite a bit. I didn't at first, and watching it again and again has sort of brought it up in my estimation. So I think it is a lovely, sweet story that I enjoy watching around Christmas.
All right. Anyone else as big a fan of Doctor, Widow, Wardrobe as Erika is?
Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe was the first day and date
broadcast
that we got.
I like that's your lodestone.
I don't know.
Because we didn't get Christmas Carol on Christmas Day, did we?
Oh, I don't remember, Chris. I don't remember.
Well, they downloaded
it might have been
Christmas
Boxing
Day.
Day. They might have, yeah, I know that. Yeah, it didn't matter to us.
I'm not a fan of the C.S. Lewis books. All the Christian stuff can go die in a fire.
Yep.
So I'm predisposed to dislike Doctor Widow, Wardrobe as a result. Erika's not wrong. It's got the whimsy of it is, it's good. Like it fits. It fits the Christmas motif in a way that Husbands of River Song maybe doesn't.
True.
But at the end of the day, I couldn't get behind the family stuff. Alexander Armstrong is in this. He's Mr. Smith, for Kermity's sake.
Right.
And I couldn't care. I didn't care about the kids.
Right.
Bill Bailey. I'm a massive Bill Bailey fan. He was he's freaking wasted in this. It's not even.
He really is.
Not even funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the tree people were just, okay, fine. They looked cool and stuff, but I don't know. The Doctor, the whole story just rubbed me the whole wrong way. It's not a favorite. No.
Right.
I do like the end
like
too, when the
Chris.
Doctor
Sorry,
shows up to join Amy and Rory for dinner. Like, that is a lovely, sweet touch at the end of it. And they've been saving a place for him all the way along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might have also been nice if they were in the rest of the stupid episode.
True. Warren, you had something there?
Like Chris, like Chris. I at first viewing, I disliked it intensely. I felt kind of let down by this slight Moffat thing, which doesn't make any sense given my Twice Upon a Time comments, but whatever. But on further viewings, it's fine, but that's all it is. It's just fine. Like, it's just kind of there as far as I'm concerned.
Kat, what about you? Widow Wardrobe.
To avoid the amount of lambasting I want to do with Husbands of River Song, I'll just say that this story, I think it's cute and it's fun, and it does a lot of the C.S. Lewis stuff without the overt Christianity. Kind of like, his Dark Materials does all that stuff better than C.S. Lewis does. And has a lot of really good bits, but I still would rather watch a lot of other stories than that story. But when it comes to these two, I have to put all my weight behind Widow Wardrobe.
Well, what about Husbands of River Song then? Peter Capaldi's just said goodbye to Clara, and now it's just this episode with River Song and a holiday special. Erika has a look on her face.
I know so many people that just absolutely adore this story, and it did not hit with me at all. I mean, maybe because I've never been a fan of River as a character all that much. I mean, she sort of grew on me more toward the end of the Matt Smith era, and I do appreciate the scene with the 12th Doctor saying hello, sweetie, and her being like, oh, like that's a nice moment, but nothing else in the rest of the story is anything that I am interested in. I hated Nardole at first. Like, I ended up liking him in the next season when he's completely different. But I didn't like him here. I generally don't like putting comedians into Doctor Who stories, just like in Dr. Widow Wardrobe. Bill Bailey is wasted, and then here you have Matt Lucas and Greg Davies, and I did not like either one of them. It just, you get the weird guys with the heads that open, which is just kind of gross, and it also like sort of hammers home the fact that River Song has done some really, really horrible, awful things when they're talking about how, oh yes, you don't even get in this room unless you're a planet killer or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to remember that. And then I guess it's nice that they get their one last night together, and that it's a cheat that it's 24 years long, and she has a beautiful spray-on dress and stuff. But it's just, this one just did not land for me. So I'm really, really struggling. I'm taking away that, like, whatever I vote for in this round, I get to vote against it probably next round. So that's how I'm thinking about this.
Wow.
Yep.
In this house, we were massive Greg Davis fans. He is not put to good use in this.
From Taskmaster is what he is famous for these days, right?
Among others, among many other things.
In-betweeners too, right?
In-betweeners,
thinking the right guy.
But the guy who plays Ramon, I do like him.
Right. All right. Warren, you have something there?
I want to support the Husbands of River Song. I really enjoyed its rompiness, its funness, the running around, her being in charge and leading the 12 around, and him just kind of playing the fool about it. That's all a lot of fun as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, there's some bits and pieces I don't like. But did I go see it in the theater, and did I cry like a little baby at the end? Yes, I did. So I love that part at the end. And I'm also a sucker for any time Moffat ties up loose ends, and he did that with this. So
I also do like the notion that River will just steal the Doctor's TARDIS at will without him ever having noticed.
And Booze Cabinet.
And the Booze Cabinet, sure. And also kudos, Stephen, for doing your thing with Douglas McKinnon when there was no commentary.
We did a commentary on this podcast.
But we did
McKinnon.
one, and the only one.
The only director's commentary that exists, as far as we know, is the Radio Free episode, Radio Free Skaro episode, where we did it. Yeah, Kat, what say you about Husbands River Song?
It's horrible, just like every other River Song episode is horrible. I can't. I can't. Everything.
Well, I'm dying on this hill, I guess.
Oh,
yeah. It's Christmas, Kat. Calm down. But
right.
I can't with her. Although she
never
does,
calm down, Kat,
she does get her sonic screwdriver, I think.
Yes.
This episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, please no. Just
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Kat, just to get your vote out of the way first, which way are you leaning? Dr. Widow Wardrobe or Husbands of River Song?
Dr. Widow Wardrobe.
Right. Chris, how about you?
I don't want to vote for either, but
you don't have that option, my friend.
I'm going to vote for the Husbands of River Song because I get more enjoyment out of the moments that Erika alluded to, such as as River stealing the TARDIS, as the hello sweetie, as the Doctor playing dumb with how it's bigger on the inside,
right?
All that kind of stuff. Just those little things, and the 24 years at the end. I don't care how big of a conceit it is. That does kind of hit me in the feels. Not to the point where I'm weeping like a baby like Warren, but
yes, that's a character flaw,
shame in that.
I'm sure.
No shame in that. Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll see. But yeah, husbands gets my vote. Yeah.
All right, husband. Erika, what about you?
I'm going to vote for the Husbands of Riversong. I think that overall, like it's more important to Doctor Who than the other choice is, and I do appreciate, like, I can actually read romantic tension between the 12th Doctor and Riversong where I couldn't previously with the 11th Doctor. And much as River will never be my favorite character, I do appreciate her getting a story like this to sort of round out her tendency. So, yeah.
Do you think, just to follow up on that, Erika, do you think that's a function of Capaldi or Capaldi's age, like the tension bit?
I think it's Capaldi's doctor, because Matt Smith's doctor is very like, I don't really understand you strange humans. I'm just going to be a little bit wacky. What is this kissing thing? I just don't. Yeah. So it's not like whereas the 12th Doctor has seen some things. He's much more, and not like in an age way, because as we know, the 11th Doctor seemed like one of the oldest doctors we've ever had. But it's more just he's more down to earth and mellow, and he's the doctor that's grappling with, who am I? Am I a good man? Sort of a thing. And I think that is, for me, better in a romantic lead than wacky, happy-go-lucky, dancing like a giraffe sort of fella.
Cool.
Oh, all right, Warren, what about you? It's 2-1 right now for husbands. Husbands, okay.
Husbands of Riversong, no question there.
All right. So
There's more to it.
Husbands of Riversong moves on. We've had the only top seed in this whole round is one so far. It's a snowman. It's all been upsets after this.
That's because AI is bunk.
It is a bit bunk, and I think
we haven't got to Christmas Carol yet. So
we haven't got there yet, but we will later. But not this round. This next round then is the 6th seed. The original, the Christmas Invasion with an AI of 84, facing off against the only Doctor Who episode of 2016, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Chris, do you have talk about the Christmas Invasion? It's the first one. What do you say about that one?
Oh man, okay. Where to start? We watched this not that long ago. I can't remember why.
Miniscope. James Hawes' Miniscope, I think.
Yeah, Miniscope. Yeah. That's what it was. I've never been much of a fan of the Christmas Invasion on the whole, I don't think. There's a lot of it that has just really rubbed me the wrong way, between things like Tennant only really being in half the episode, and the Sycorax are really, really lame ducks. I mean, on purpose. It's not like they're trying to be grandiose and failing. Well, actually, they kind of are. But I mean, they're lame ducks on purpose, and I don't know. I don't care for that. Unit is just also really lame duckish. I don't hate Rose trying to like be the Doctor and kind of failing and all that kind of stuff. Downfall of Harriet Jones. She did get too big for her britches, so she had it coming. Spinning Christmas tree? No, just go away.
All right.
Sorry, stream of consciousness stuff here.
So I should have asked if you were going to defend it, but obviously you're not here to defend it.
I'm not sure what there is to defend. Quite honestly, Santa's. Santas were okay, other than no, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, does anyone else have anything nice to say about the Christmas Invasion that Chris obviously doesn't have it?
It gives Rose some nice moments, like the Doctor is out of commission, which that's true. Annoying, but that gives Rose the opportunity to sort of stand up and be the Doctor herself as much as she can. Right. It doesn't pay off real great, but at least she gets those moments. There you go. That's my nice thing to say about this story.
Wow.
Can I talk about a metatextual thing that I don't like about the Christmas Invasion?
Sure.
Don't you think she looks tired is fine? It works fine in the story itself. I am sick and tired of hearing it anytime there's a political problem in the UK. Please use any other line, nerds. Please, I'm begging you.
Right. And it was spawned in this episode. Kat, what about you? Christmas Invasion. Do you have any? Do you defend it? Is it defended?
No, never. But I will say, for a positive slant, the robot killer Santas are if I'm remembering correctly, are creepy and good. And there's something about Christmas Invasion, just maybe it's the way it's shot, maybe it's the way it's like cut together, but it really reminds me of the Christmas episodes of Mr. Bean. And I mean that in like the highest praise possible, because I love those Christmas specials so much. But just the way it's cut together, it reminds me of that in a good way. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's a horrible story.
If the Mr. Bean Christmas special was on here, it might be winning the whole thing if I was voting for it too.
Well, maybe if Rose had a turkey on her head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm kind of sensing
what
how
else does he have two of, says Jackie.
I'm kind of sensing how this one's going, but the return of Dr. Mysterio, before I throw it open to Erika, who I know will say things great about this, does anybody have things to say about the return of Dr. Mysterio?
The line, I brought snacks, sign of a pro.
Right.
It's always stuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. It's fun. Like it's fun, silly comic book nonsense, which Doctor Who doesn't do a hell of a lot of, which is and it is basically based on Richard Donner's Superman, one of the greatest films, not just superhero films, one of the greatest films ever made. Right. So I will go with it for that reason.
All right. Anyone else, not including Erika?
I love Justin Chatwin in this so much, and Charity Wakefield for that matter as well. Yep. Their chemistry together is just so phenomenal, and she is just fantastic. And the Doctor with them is great. And it's comic booky. It's not even Christmassy really, and I don't care. I mean, her Husband's Forever song, not even really Christmassy. Still didn't care. Voted for it. Mm-hmm. Right. Nardle's back, and I mean,
All right.
Nardle's better in this than he was in Husbands. Yeah, I guess. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what the details are. There's a scene in the kitchen in the apartment,
right?
Which Mr. stands
Huffle?
out for some reason, but I can't remember why.
It's Mr. Huffle or something, isn't it? Like,
yes.
Something like that.
Yeah,
the stress toy.
The stress toy. That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was. That was good. That was fun.
Yeah.
I just love the soft side you see of the Doctor, of like him going up on the roof with Grant. And Grant's explaining about like Spider-Man. And the Doctor's like, well, if he got bitten by a radioactive spider, he'd have radiation poisoning. But he's still listening to him talk excitedly about it. And, it's like, that's the way I interact with children. I'll listen to them and I'll explain why they're wrong. But I don't know, to me, it just seems, it's not Christmassy at all. But it does comic book really, really well.
Yeah. All right, Erika.
Can I talk now?
You can now speak.
I will lay my cards on the table. This is by far my favorite Christmas special of all of them.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's not super Christmassy, and that's fine, because one of the things that kind of bothers me a little bit about the Christmas specials is the fact that they're so Christmassy, which is like, very, very, very Christian. And that's not great for all viewers.
The problem with Scotland is it's full of Scots.
So I love the idea of a holiday special that is heartwarming. And this actually, like, the whole story is based on a Christmas wish. So the heart and soul of the Return of Dr. Mysterio is because of a wish that a little boy made. And that is one of the things that I love about it. That same scene that Kat was talking about. The Doctor, this is not the Doctor of his first season. This is not season 8, 12th Doctor. He has softened. He has learned to interact with people better. Like, this is him putting to use the skills that Clara has taught him over the years. And I think that that's wonderful. It also closes off the emotional arc from Husbands of River Song so nicely. It's another Christmas miracle is the fact that it made me like Nardole, because I really hated him after that first one. And here he's been brought back and like he has a job. His role is to basically help keep the Doctor in check. And I think that is lovely. And you get some of, I think, the best emotional scenes from Peter Capaldi in the little bits where he's talking about how River died and how he needs to move on and let that go. It is such a beautiful gut punch. I think it's amazing. And then just to talk about the story itself, it's a comic booky sort of superhero story. And I think that the idea that you have Justin Chatwin, who, yes, He's amazing. He's playing a nanny. I love the inversion of the gender roles. He's the nanny. She's, Charity Wakefield plays the reporter who's out to get the scoop, and he's got the secret identity, and he's the superhero, and she wants to report on the superhero, and it's like this. It feels very wacky 1940s screwball comedy in a way that I think Husbands of River Song was aiming for, but didn't quite hit for me. Whereas this does. It lands. And the romance 100% works for me. I think that they are such a well-matched, charismatic couple. And the fact that it's the doctor who is, not, almost against his will, sort of facilitating this beautiful romance. Romantic comedy is one of my favorite genres of all. And I think this is a great example of doing it well. And the scene with, yes, he brings sushi to the stakeout. Mm-hmm. That line is fantastic. There are just so many little bits and pieces, and also it looks gorgeous. Where was it, Stephen, that they
filmed it in Bulgaria?
Yes, yeah. So it gives it it's New York, but it's comic book style New York. Mm-hmm. So it looks so good, and yeah, I think it's got some of the best 12th Doctor scenes of all time. The Mr. Huffle scene is great. Like, how do you interrogate the doctor? You threaten to squeeze a stress toy so that it yells. Right. And it's just, there's every moment has something in it for me, and I just think that it is lovely and beautiful and wonderful. And yeah, it's not super Christmassy, but it's based on a Christmas wish, mm-hmm. and it's like me getting my Christmas wish every time I watch it. So that's right. Good enough. And also, I watch a lot of romantic Christmassy comedies at Christmas, so to me this does feel Christmassy because it's the same kind of romantic tropes that I get in all of those Hallmark and Lifetime movies. So I could keep talking for a lot longer, but I'll stop there.
All right. Well, let's put it to a vote. I'm going to say that Erika votes for the return of Dr. Mysterio.
Check.
Kat, where does your vote lie?
The same. Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Dr. Mysterio. Chris, you?
Dr. Mysterio.
All right. And Warren?
I'm a hate-filled ogre, but I still like Dr. Mysterio better.
It's a sweep. All right.
Also, Justin Chatwin, Canadian.
Yep. Actually, Canadian actor in Doctor Who. All right. The seventh matchup in this first round is the seventh seed with 84 AI, The Runaway Bride, versus with an AI of 82, Last Christmas. Who wants to speak up for The Runaway Bride? First appearance of Donna Noble. I
just rewatched it, and I liked it a lot better than I thought I was going to. Mm-hmm. It was a good introduction of Donna. I think the first time I saw it, she was just too much for me because I didn't know anything about Catherine Tate.
Right.
But rewatching it, I think it really plants the seeds for who Donna becomes as a character later much better than expected, mm-hmm. considering that they didn't know that was going to happen mm-hmm. later on. So yeah, it's funny. You get some wacky Christmas wedding stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
All right. Anyone else? Runaway Bride?
I have a sense of childlike glee, just to go away from my ogre comment on the last one. When that TARDIS chase happens on the road, I can't help but go, yee, I love it. But the rest of it, I could take or leave, frankly.
And I can't help but put my head in my hands and just shake violently like I'm going through trauma.
That's part of why I love it, because it makes Chris angry.
Santa's a robot.
Yeah, all right. Kat, what about you? Runaway Bride, anything?
I don't have anything nice to say. So.
All right. Well, seeing that we'll probably have more to talk about in the next round, potentially, let's just put it to a vote right now. Kat, where does your vote lie? Runaway Bride or Last Christmas?
Last Christmas.
Okay.
Wow,
Chris?
that was Last Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down. But
I know.
Wow.
Warren, you?
Last Christmas, peak Moffat, proper horror.
All right. And you, Erika?
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. See, that's what I thought. Like I said, we'll get a chance to talk about Last Christmas probably in the next round.
Yeah, fair.
Depending on who it goes up against. Here we go, the last matchup of the first round. It is the 8th seed with an AI of 83 and a viewing figures of 12.11 million. A Christmas Carol versus the 9th seed with an 83 AI, The Time of the Doctor.
Oh my God, that is so unfair.
Warren, I'm really curious. I mean, is there anybody what do people say about either of these? Is there anything that leaps up that you want to defend or speak up for? out of these
Everybody
two.
else go first. Because
Christmas Carol is I mean the title of the episode is there for a very good reason. I mean, Kazran Sardik is such a Scrooge character that the title is very appropriate, and his redemption and all that is so fitting with the title, and the sense of wonder in the story is just phenomenal. Even at the end when the doctor, when Catherine Jenkins and young Kazran are getting ready to kiss and stuff like that, and the doctor's like, he doesn't even have the social cues to leave until eventually he figures out. He's like, I'll just go over there. Right. But like the flying sharks and the fish around the lights, and it's just you're a big fan, Stephen, of talking about how musicians, artists, whatever, they've got their whole lives to do their first album, their first work, and so they can pour everything into it, and then their second one is where they will sometimes often stumble, and that's where that's exactly what happened with Moffat. Is he's had however long to do his first Christmas special, which is this, and the second one suffers a lot comparatively. That being Dr. Widow Wardrobe, and it's so Christmassy, it's so magical, it's so like Christmas Eve, was it? I don't know, whenever it was. We watched like Muppet Christmas Carol, and I still can't stand that film. But
you're not a millennial, apparently.
But I'll watch this.
All right. Kat, what about you? Christmas Carol? Anything to say?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's got Michael Gambon in it.
Right.
The little fish around the light. Which, when it happened, I just assumed that everybody in the fandom was going to be like, "That's so silly. That's so dumb." Blah blah blah.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was saying that.
Okay, I thought everyone would be like that because I really, really liked it, and I was like, "It's
known
cute,
hard ass Erika Ensign.
Yeah, to me, this is a Christmas special. Like, I keep defending episodes I like, but it's episodes that are supposed to be like the most holiday, and like
Is
I
it,
like.
though?
Well, that's the
Or is
point
it
of a
the best?
holiday death match.
Or is it the best holiday specials? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, to me, it's got to be the most most holiday. And this is the most holiday, because the other one, I couldn't even remember why it would be considered a holiday special.
It took place in a town called Christmas, or a planet called Christmas.
Yeah.
I know, but that's so silly that I just blanked it out of my head.
Oh, well.
I'm sure we'll get to the good stuff about Time of the Doctor soon enough.
Oh, probably. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about Time of the Doctor or Christmas Carol, Erika? Where does your...
I think they're both fine. A Christmas Carol, it's very Christmassy, and it's a great play on the story. However, I am very uncomfortable with the Doctor winning the day by completely changing somebody's personality against their will. I think that is really uncomfortable. It's like, might as well just make a lobotomy story and you can shorten it a little bit. Like, it's icky to me.
It's like mind wiping Donna in a way.
Yeah, I don't like that. And at least the 10th Doctor, for all of his Time Lord Victoria stuff, when he got too big for his britches, he got some comeuppance in the end. And it was all sort of like, it was part of his narrative arc that this is not a good thing. You shouldn't do this. And now you're going to pay for it. That never happens with the 11th Doctor. It's just super cool that he totally takes a person and changes him entirely. And, yes, it's great that he saved a whole bunch of people, but that still is the heart of the story. And it's like, I am the one who walks away from Omelas. I don't want that. Right. Although I'm probably still going to vote for this anyway.
All right. All right, Warren. These two are near and dear to your heart. So say what you will about them.
Here.
Yep. Okay.
What I will say is, if I had to argue one is better than the other, which is not what I'm going to vote on, it would be Christmas Carol, far and away. Christmas Carol is a better put together story. It's like everything Chris said. It's magical. There's sequences that are just wondrous. Like, it's so well structured. It's so well put together. Where the singing stuff is at the end, it's fantastic. But Time of the Doctor gets me in the feels every time I watch it. I don't know why. It's just everybody's got that episode. Probably because Matt Smith's my favorite Doctor of the new Doctors. As soon as they do the montage of Christmas is Defended at the puppet show, it kills me. Like him dying. Handles, for God's sakes, the greatest companion who ever lived.
Right.
like there's just so many moments in Time of the Doctor that just get me like hard. Like still, and I've seen it God knows how many times. So I have to vote for it on Feels Alone.
All right. So, Warren, are you voting then for the Time of the Doctor?
Yeah, I'm voting for Time of the Doctor.
Time of the Doctor for Warren. Erika, what about you?
You know, I'm going to go for A Christmas Carol, but it's actually fairly close as far as I'm concerned in my head.
Kat?
Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol. Chris, it's all up to you. Christmas Carol or Time of the Doctor?
It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. 8th, 9th seed, I tell you. Tough matchup.
It is really a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Regeneration stories are really, really hard to dismiss.
Yeah, they're special.
Mm-hmm.
Because they only come along so infrequently, and with the one obvious exception, are usually very, very good, very powerful, and man, yeah, this is definitely the hardest of the lot.
In the first round, anyway.
In the first round, yeah, so far. Also had Clara's grandmother looking at like naked Matt Smith.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that part is great.
Yeah.
Her little speech afterwards is great.
Mm-hmm. Shiza.
Apologies
You know what,
to our German
Stephen,
listeners.
you haven't done anything yet. I'm going to go vote for Time of the Doctor just to put you to work.
All right.
Make you the bad guy or the good guy.
2-2 tiebreaker vote goes to me. I got to go with the Christmas Carol. It is the Christmassy of Christmas specials.
Mm-hmm.
It is I think it's just a brilliant Stephen Moffat twist to a classic tale. So yeah, I'm going with that one. Thanks for putting me to work, Chris. But I like both. I mean, I like all Doctor Who, let's face it. But yeah, so I'm giving it to A Christmas Carol. So it wins. It's only the second of two top seeds in a round to actually win.
Wow.
In this thing. So so while I calculate the rest of the matchups, one matchup here is assured, and that is that the number 1 seed is now the second overall, the Snowmen, going up against the 16th overall, Eve of the Daleks. Snowmen or Eve of the Daleks? Where do people's sentiments lie here? Yeah.
I had to look up again which one's Eve of the Daleks. So I think for me that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah. Time loop 1.
Yeah. It's a good iterative story. It'd be weird for me to vote against an iterative story.
Mm-hmm.
But Clara, in and of herself, is kind of an iterative companion. So therefore, I feel like I'm not betraying my soul and my mores if I stick with the Snowman.
Okay. So we got one vote for.
I'm voting Snowman.
Snowman.
Yeah.
Erika's voting for Snowman. Anybody else have a vote
that
right
was
now?
Hard choice though.
Yeah, hard choice.
I'll go Snowman.
Snowman 2 for Warren. All right.
It is a hard choice. I agree.
Okay. Chris, what do you got? Oh, Kat. Yeah, go for it, Kat.
Yeah, I'll go for Eve, just because, having to work on work on the holiday, and the fact that it said at a storage facility, like, few things scream Christmas like a storage facility.
That's true.
Or New Year's.
Right.
Or New Year's, yeah.
Snowman. Gotta go Snowman.
Snowman. So is that 3-1 for Snowman? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So the Snowman moves on to the semifinals. How about that? Okay. The second matchup in the second seed for this second round is A Christmas Carol versus Resolution. Christmas Carol, Resolution.
Christmas Carol. Easy.
Wow.
Here's me looking up. Wait, which one's Resolution again?
Yep.
The Daleks split up with Charlotte Ritchie and.
Oh, yeah,
which
that's
is great,
true.
but Christmas Carol's better.
You know what? I'm going to go for Resolution because I like the reinvention of the Daleks. I like the fact that it is a New Year's Eve special that has some New Year's Eviness to it, like it's mentioned a little bit there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't have something icky at the heart of it to make me feel gross at the end of the episode.
All right. 1-1. Chris, what about you? Chris's Carol or Resolution?
I'm going to defer to my better half and ask her to vote first.
Kat? Chris is being a coward. Go for it.
Yep.
Christmas Carol, because I don't like the Dalek reinvention.
All right. Okay, then, Chris. There you go. Kat did not buy you much time to think what a time.
I'm really remiss to vote against Christmas Carol a second time because I didn't find it easy to vote against it last time. But Resolution, in a lot of ways, is just so good.
Yep.
The possession by the Dalek of Charlotte Ritchie, the stuff between Ryan and his dad in the cafe is just so phenomenal.
I mean, you could put Steven to work again, and he'd probably just vote for a Christmas Carol again.
I'm not leaning one way or the other.
I know. I'm just guessing.
I have to go Christmas Carol.
Fair.
I have to.
3-1. It's a very good story. It is a very good story.
It is. It's a very, very good story.
Yep. Christmas Carol moves on. All right. The next matchup in the quarterfinals here. The third seed here is Last Christmas versus Twice Upon a Time. We kind of skipped past Last Christmas knowing that it was going to sweep by Runaway Bride. Anyone want to speak up for Last Christmas?
It's great. It is. There are things about it that bother me. And this is one of those stories where the things about it that bother me don't even matter because the rest of it I like so much. It is, you've got that horror-esque, it's the thing, it's alien, everybody's trapped on a base, except then are they? And they, you wrap in the nature of reality sort of stuff, which is another thing that I really like. You get dancing to a Christmas song in order to get through a thing,
that's right.
Which is delightful. You get the doctor being like, you have a horror movie called Alien. Well, that's just rude. No wonder you keep getting invaded. There are some amazing lines. There's face huggers. There's the sleigh ride at the end, which is just so touching as all the people are disappearing. I have very, very mixed feelings about the end where Clara has grown old and lived without the doctor, which may or may not have been intended as her original ending, and the way that it comes back together. And is Santa actually real? I don't want to think about that. I'm just enjoying the ride. I love that story so much.
Santa Claus played by Nick frickin' Frost.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Perfection.
I have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Simon Pegg, and now we have the other half of the Cornetto.
Yep.
Pair.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say about Last Christmas?
I think Erika summed it up pretty well. And much as I do love Twice Upon a Time, and I like it more than Last Christmas is the better one, so I'm going completely against my Christmas Carol dichotomy. I'm going to say Last Christmas.
Okay.
It's also nice to see Dan Starkey not in layers of makeup.
True.
Yeah.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, let's put it to a vote then. Erika, you said
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. Warren, I think you voted there too.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas.
Yeah.
Chris,
Was the Last Christmas versus what now?
Twice Upon a Time.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas it is. And Kat, just to make it official,
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas goes to a 4-0 sweep. All right, the last matchup in the quarterfinals: the return of Dr. Mysterio versus the Husbands of River Song.
Damn.
Return of Dr. Mysterio. It closes off the Husbands of River Song stuff in a way, and it's a nice capper. And I'm not a huge fan of Husbands anyway, so I'll just put my vote out there right now because it's pretty obvious.
Is voting for Mysterio. Anybody?
I will throw my vote behind Mysterio quite happily there as well.
Okay.
As will I.
All right, Warren.
Dark horse here. I'm going to go Husbands. It's more fun.
All right.
To me.
Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Your vote is noted and ignored because Return of Dr. Mysterio moves on. Here we go, folks. Now it's 1 versus 4. It's the Snowmen versus the Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Well, I'll just vote right away because, as I said, Return of Dr. Mysterio, it's my favorite. Snowman has a lot of things in it that I like, but I went on at length already about why I'm voting Mysterio.
Okay. Return of Dr. Okay. Anybody else? Snowman or Return of Dr.
Snowman.
Mysterio. Snowman. We got 1-1.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely Mysterio.
Mysterio. Interesting.
Sorry, Steven. Golden Snowman, you're up. You're tiebreaker.
Ooh.
I would just like to remind you of the lovely Lifetime movie, A Plan for Christmas, which I make you watch every year.
Yep.
It's basically the return of Dr. Mysterio.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to correct that and say there is no such thing as a lovely Lifetime movie.
You're wrong.
With a with a female lead who reminds me very much of Billie Piper. Oh boy, so I'm choosing between the Return of Dr. Mysterio and the Snowman. Man,
Yours is the
Talk it through.
deciding, binding.
What do you like about each one? Tell us.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it amuses me because the personal connection that the Snowman has with the Verity thing also happening, but also it was at Chicago TARDIS where Verity, you first recorded your little Verity teaser, as I recall, and there was all the chatter about the return of the Web of Fear and stuff, and that there was going to be a reference to it in the upcoming Christmas special.
And there was.
And I sort of think about that aspect of things as well. I really do love the return of Dr. Mysterio. Especially the ending, I just like Be Happy, just the way that Peter Capaldi plays that whole scene. He's wonderful in it.
It's beginnings versus endings again, but it's a different kind of ending.
It is. But you know what?
He's thinking so hard, you guys.
I really am. This is tough. This is a tough one. I really do enjoy the Snowman. I've interviewed the kids in the cast of that on stage at Chicago.
Yeah,
TARDIS.
Is that a pro or con?
I don't know. In a weird collection of people, including Annette Badland and Sunita Henry of the Time of the Doctor. So almost everyone was in a Christmas special. I mean, how will I live in this house if I don't vote for Dr. Mysterio as well?
You need to vote your conscience.
Be true to yourself.
They are both...
And then pay the price of your choices.
They are both very, very good. But, I mean, the Snowman is wonderfully Christmassy, and there's a certain magic to it. And there's a very... The patter between Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman in that, and Eyes Front Soldier and all this running up and stuff. It's very madcap. It's a madcap Christmas, but also there's a sense of magic to it all. I'm going to go with the Snowman. It's very good. Return of Dr. Mysterio is very good as well. But yeah, the Snowman.
That just means we get to watch that Lifetime movie that's similar to Dr.
True.
Mysterio one more time.
Maybe we'll watch it at the same time and see if the plot beats time out, perhaps. But all right. You thought that was tough. Here's a tough one. The next semifinal, A Christmas Carol versus Last Christmas.
It's not hard for me.
Not hard for you. Erika's going to go with Last Christmas.
I am totally going Last Christmas.
What about you, Warren?
I'm going Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol, like I said, is arguably the best one as far as I'm concerned. But I still love Time of the Doctor more. But that's not a factor here. So Christmas Carol.
Okay, split the vote there. All right.
I think A Christmas Carol is about as Christmassy as they come. But I have to vote Last Christmas because it's so much fun, so enjoyable.
I mean, Santa's pretty Christmassy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just so like the mind F aspect of the episode, like what's real, what's not. It just is just so well done that Last Christmas. Yeah, I think that's my vote.
Okay, Kat, what about you? Last Christmas or A Christmas Carol?
Last Christmas, because dream crabs. What says Christmas like dream crabs?
Right.
Damn.
All right, then. So we move on to A Christmas Carol goes down.
I'm a little surprised.
Finals, I know.
And a little sad. Like I didn't vote for it, but I give it its due.
Yep. All right. Well, here we are then. The championship round, the finale, the one and only debate about the greatest holiday special ever. There will never be another discussion about this. So vote with that on your conscience. It is The Snowman versus Last Christmas. Who wants to vote first? Who wants to place their vote?
I'm going to say Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. Warren says Last Christmas.
I also say Last Christmas.
All right, Chris, go for it. Make it official.
Doesn't matter.
But you still have to say something.
Oh, man.
I think I might have to make it unanimous. Yeah, Last Christmas.
I too will make it unanimous.
Aww.
I watched 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember, whenever there were exactly 12 Doctor Who Christmas specials, I watched all 12 leading up to Christmas Day, and I was expecting to adore A Christmas Carol and have that be my top one, and it was, until I saw Last Christmas again, and I thought, this is amazingly good. And the ending, because Jenna Coleman was totally going to leave, and then they wrote that in very quickly at the very end, and it's so earned, that ending, that it was just delightful. And and then only in the last couple months have we actually seen The Thing, for me, for the first.
That's right.
Both of us saw it for the first time.
Yep.
I also watched it for the first time a week or two ago, and I utterly loathed it.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
I liked it a lot.
John Carpenter's not even dead. He's spinning in his grave.
That's what I said.
Yeah. But Last Christmas is wonderful, and I think earns its top spot as the greatest Doctor Who holiday special ever made. There you go, Russell T Davies. Beat that in a year's time when we have another Doctor Who special starring Ncuti Gatwa as the next Doctor Who. Well, thank you all for playing.
In the festive season.
Yes. Festive season. He means Christmas. Excellent. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Erika, for joining us for this. Thank you, WestJet, for canceling all your flights, so we had to do this over Zoom again. Next week, we'll have a lighter episode because there won't be as much news going on, so we're going to present our pre-banked commentary for Knock Knock, everyone's second favorite Doctor Who Christmas special that wasn't actually pre-banked. Yeah, so that'll be coming next week as we take a little bit of a time off before the new year in 2023, the year of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
Kat in Edmonton.
And Erika in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.